Oh shit, dang. What's up? Yeah, I just decided to do a little late night stream. The boy James, what's going on, man? I ain't seen you in a minute. Shit. Yeah, we still hanging in here, man. We still hanging in here after all these years. Still trying to push the content, man. Oh yeah, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. That was what, 2 weeks ago now. This damn time be going so fast, man. I can't even believe I'm damn 34 now. The fuck? Sound like I hear a noise, like a helicopter. Oh, that's the wind sound in the game. That shit sound like a fucking helicopter in the background. Yeah, I really need me I need me a fucking a wireless mic to be honest, so I can walk around with it like a lav mic. I actually got one, but it's like one of the ones you plug into a phone. Like I need one that's wireless. I'm gonna get one soon. Man, I got all kind of cameras and shit now. I got a camera that's like a pen. I got one that's like the one on Scarface. It was like a clock, but it's actually like a camera. Like Timu got all kind of shit. I think that last time I streamed, Timu had just started. Yeah, we really are, man. It's like shit. Even be playing this right now. It's like it's just crazy to me. This game is literally 20 years old. I remember when it first came out. I don't feel like we getting old like that though. I feel like like I was thinking about that earlier. Like our time, we had like the best like years of like the last good stuff in reality. Cause it seemed like everything since us pretty much has just been ass. Like it definitely started in the 2000s, and now it's like you don't even you can't even value entertainment anymore. It's just all this stuff is so watered down. It's like the only thing we could be entertained by is stuff we do ourselves now. Yeah, this stuff is just horrible. We really did, man. Like and as we sit here saying that, like I'm literally looking at all the tapes I had growing up. I'm looking at E.T. and Ninja Turtles and Back to the Future and Stargate and Adam's Family, Land Before Time. I mean, I'm thinking like, man, like we grew up off a lot of good stuff. I mean, this is like all these movies I named were like classics, but I'm like, this is stuff I literally would just go and buy in the stores, and these were like legendary movies that that were gonna be like years later. Like I literally barely enjoy too much now. I mean, honestly, like I'm probably gonna get a PlayStation 5 and get on that soon. Just for the sake of playing it. But to be honest, I mean, the only games I know I'm probably gonna play is like Battlefield, and I can't even really play the sports games anymore. I don't even really understand those shits. But like maybe like Battlefield, that probably be like a good game to play because it looks pretty addicting. It kind of reminds me of how the old Modern Warfare 2 was. But other than that, man, it's oh shit, damn, I sat on my hand. But yeah, other than that, everything else is just kind of just watered down. It's kind of sad that why are the frame rate so slow? It's kind of sad that now that let's see, hold on, I'm trying to minimize this screen. How did I do it? Huh? What new above the rim? God, please don't tell me they did that. Yeah, I wouldn't say everything, but yeah, a lot of stuff out here is just kind of, I don't know. I guess it don't really hold my attention. That's more of like the phrase I'm looking for. It's not like everything is just bad. It's just we seen so much stuff that was good. It's like, in order for it to really hold my attention, I guess stuff has to be really really good. But I gotta admit, like my attention span is just so like hard to keep right now, especially like with movies and stuff. Like what really like it kind of like really gets my attention in a movie is, I guess, certain characters. Like, when I watch a movie, I'm thinking like, do they remind me of somebody I know in real life? Like, I try to think of things like that. I'm trying to remember, how do I minimize the screen? Um, Hold on, yo. I'm trying to remember, how do I minimize the screen on the actual emulator. I feel so dumb right now because it's like I know how to do it, but I cannot do it for some reason. Damn it, how do I do it? But hell yeah, I'm in, man. I'm in. That boy Alex. It's a little late night stream, just trying to keep things rolling. Appreciate everybody for joining in. It's mainly what I'm trying to do now. I mean, to be honest, I'm still gonna make the reviews and stuff. Cause funny enough, I was thinking about that Vice City Stories review. I still actually want to do that review. I mean, it's still gonna be the same scripted stuff. Like it's gonna be way funnier than what I've done in the past. I know, but it's just not gonna be as many videos as I did in the past. Like I said, like a lot of that I had time to do back then. I don't really have as much time now. But I mean, to be honest, I just kind of like the live streaming better. I mean, this seems more authentic. I don't really have to do too much editing. Even though I like editing and stuff, but this shit is just getting on a microphone and just getting in front of y'all and telling y'all what's actually going on in my head, which is something I always preferred. I just never thought that I could sit here and play a video game and literally, I guess, people just watch that instead of me doing a scripted review. That just always seemed kind of crazy that this is literally what we have to do, like, I guess, to make it more personal. Hold on, I'm just trying to get my comments set up so I can see that while I'm playing the game. Oh yeah, I still have that commercial business. As I was telling Alex in the first stream, um, yeah, that's those same accounts that I had from 2022, the summer of 2022 when I got that and I showed y'all that. Yeah, I actually still have that same account. The only thing is now is they just switched buildings, and when I showed y'all the account that I had, hopefully these frame rates, I think the frame rate will stay the same. But yeah, when I got that account back in 2022, they gave me another one. That same company, they had a sister company that they that was at another location down the street, and we we got that account too, and they paid me for like a morning service and then an evening service, but they really downsized on that earlier this year, and they moved into a new building that was a couple of miles away. So now I just have that building. Instead of me having like basically both of those accounts, they all just condensed it into one service that I do in the evenings now. So I'm making like half of the pay that I was making when I finally paid off that contract and this thing called a sales and marketing fee. When I finally had all that stuff paid off earlier this year, I was making the full amount that I was supposed to get from the buildings and but they decided to downsize because I mean it's probably shit hard for them like it is for us. So I actually kind of lost a little bit of money on that. Well, ain't no little. I mean, I lost like half of what I was making. I was making like shit, $700 a month doing nothing off of that. And I was paying my cleaner like $1,600 a month. So she was getting, way more money. She was getting shit damn near triple, almost triple of what I was getting. But that was what I had. I always told y'all that was the goal, to set it up like that. And oh yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna talk way more about that business for sure, for sure. And yeah, Cloak, man, yeah, I appreciate that, man. Shit, we'll probably stream again maybe Friday or Saturday. But yeah, as far as the commercial cleaning business, oh yeah, I can talk about that for sure. Hold on. Oh shit. All right, now let me kind of focus. This is perfect, well, boss to do right now. Shit, get up. All right, now, yeah, with the commercial cleaning business, initially I started off in residential because, funny enough, I found out about this industry, because when we were in college, um, I used to always notice like during the summertime that they would have like cleaners show up, and they would always like come and clean the little vacant apartments and dorms and stuff. And I used to wonder like, damn, that's a easy job to have. I mean, all they doing is just literally cleaning the rooms. And I know they make a decent amount of money. It's probably not a lot, but I was starving for a job at that time living in Statesboro. So really anything really was good enough for me. So I remember the summer of 2014. That was my boy Everyday Struggle. He had moved out of his room, and it was a lady from Panama that had cleaned his room. And I was just asking her, like, how did you, get into this shit? And she fucking had told me it was some guy that had like, I guess, he had like a cleaning business he was working for. He was a manager, and they were just randomly hiring, warm bodies, basically just anybody that was willing to work during that time, and clean the dorms and stuff. And they got her in there, but I was trying to figure out like, how do you get these contracts? Like for years I was trying to figure that out, but that was my first time, like being introduced to it. And shit, then when was that? A year later, shit, I graduated college. Then I came up here and I just was working fast food, and I was washing dishes because that's primarily what I knew. I didn't know anything about the cleaning thing. Then it just got to a point with me where I kind of got a little tired of doing it, like fast food and restaurant jobs and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to do something where I had a little bit more control of my life, and and I didn't have to work as hard, and so I kind of was looking on Craigslist, and then one day I had saw this ad. It was from this lady in Panama. She was from not Panama, but she was from Tampa. She was from Tampa, Florida. This black lady named Kiana, and she came here to Atlanta because she had some contracts she knew for this guy, and goddamn she told me that she had needed like somebody to clean houses. And see, I'm thinking it's just basic house cleaning, where I'm going and cleaning like cleaning a house. Like, I'm thinking like it's just normal like that. So, the first time I remember she sent me on this house, it was over there off of River Road, I remember. And it was this big house, I remember. It was like it was 2 stories, but it was huge. But it was a lady that had moved out of there that had a bunch of kids, and it was a Section 8 property, essentially. And I remember the owner had showed up that day when I was cleaning. And, it took me 8 hours to clean that day. And I remember I was exhausted. And And I was just like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. Like this shit seemed like it's a lot of work because I thought that every house was gonna be like that. And shit. And then I can't even remember how much I got paid. I think I paid nearly like $300 for that house. But it took me like 8 hours, and like I said, I was exhausted. I just thought like, if this is a way I gotta make money, I don't know about this. And I remember I had asked my brother to come with me for the next house because I thought that maybe it was gonna be the same thing. Then we went to the next house, and I remember it was a brand new house. We didn't have to do nothing. I remember the contractors were just leaving out of there, and literally all we had to do was go in there and just wipe stuff down. And I got paid like $200 and some for that. So I was just like, wow, like this is a lot of money. I had never got paid like that, especially like so quick. Because again, we only were there for like literally like 40 minutes that day, and it still got paid as if it was like an 8-hour job. So it was really a blessing to get that experience. And then shit, she just kept giving me houses like week after week after week. And then, ironically enough, my mom had just bought her house at that time, so me and my brother had to all move and get an apartment. And then, I was thinking at the time, like, you know what, man, I probably could just quit my job when I was washing dishes, and I loved that job. It was a good job. I was working at the Ponce City Market in the middle of Midtown. It was like celebrities that used to come through there every single day and stuff. Like now, it's top tier, but at the time I was working there, they would like, get into that point. But I remember, it was like a lot of people that would come in there. So I had a good job, but I was going to quit that job just to go into this house cleaning business and learn how to get the contracts myself. So, that was at the end of 17. Yeah. Then we had to move it to the Dexter at the beginning of 18. And then I remember, I ended up quitting my job stupidly. It was kind of foolish that, when I did it. Yeah, my damn webcam fell. It was kind of foolish how I did it, but I ended up quitting my job at the time. That March I remember, and I remember that's when I had just moved in my apartment, barely was able to pay my rent. I mean, I remember at the time me and my brother were paying like $900 a month rent. That was, right before COVID and stuff. So it was fairly decent. So, you could do foolish things like quit a job and try to, figure things out, at the time back then. But I wouldn't recommend you do something like that now. So like now you got to have something that's substantial. Plus, like I'm kind of leading up to the commercial cleaning thing. I know this is kind of long and drawn out, but it's kind of leading up to how, I learned about the commercial cleaning shit. But, again, I was doing the residential stuff, cleaning houses. I remember I was working for this one gay guy named Mark, and he was kind of down low. I mean, I've talked about this guy in previous streams, I remember, but I remember I had have started working for him because I remember I was working for this one lady named Shayla who was in property management, and I was cleaning houses with her and Kiana at the time. And then I remember she had introduced me. She had a project, I remember, that was in Lithonia, and she told me about the guy Mark. And I remember that's when Mark was just giving me all the houses, and he was just letting me clean them directly because this dude had like 6 houses that he owned, like, over in Lithonia, I remember. And he was just letting me do maintenance there and like paying me directly. But I remember this guy was just kind of weird because he would be like asking me like, we would talk about like little personal stuff, but I remember he would just like, be like trying to hang out with me and like saying, yeah, well, I was just wondering, if I got some tickets to the Hawks game, and I was just wondering if I could, if some of you would like to buddy along. And I'm thinking like, dude, don't you have a wife? Like, what the fuck? Fuck are you like? I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to make some money, clean houses. I had just moved in my spot, and I'm like, I ain't with all this shit you got going on. But nevertheless, this is how I was learning the business. I was seeing how homeowners were, like hiring people, for low labor, like I said, the punch work, the maintenance stuff, and and all that. And and like I said, I had to go through a lot. I had to go through so much shit. Be honest, I mean, I'm only giving you like a little bit of, like details, but really soon, man, I'm gonna create a Patreon. And when I create that Patreon, I'm gonna show it like the paperwork that I did. I'm gonna go back and find the emails that I had did from those years, and really show you how, like, you really have to build a business. Because this is honestly like the shit I had to do to build my business. And then, I remember me and the guy Mark, we used to have a lot of conversations, and one of them, I remember he used to always talk about like how business was real personal, and and he just kind of was, this guy was older. He was like probably damn near my mom's age. This dude was like probably his early 60s, late 50s at that time. But he just was a weird motherfucker. I remember he looked like man, he looked like a weird Yoshi. I remember, like, he just had like all these like weird spots and shit on his face, and was just like an old creepy motherfucker. But he was cool. But like I said, bro, paid. I remember again, like, when I would clean the houses and shit, like, he would pay me extra, for coming back. But the houses he had were filthy because they were all from like low income tenants, again, single moms with like 5 kids. So they done went in there, ripped up the carpet, stained all the walls, and stained the carpets. Bathtubs look all bad. So I remember all the properties I had with him, I would have to go and do them like 3 times, because it took a lot of work to do. And boy, yeah, I had to do a lot of work with that guy when I quit my job that year. Cause like I said, I had needed some work, to try to figure out what to do. And then eventually I had looked on Craigslist and I saw it was a lady that was she was hiring somebody to clean the it was a Pep Boys distribution center. I remember it was just 2 times a week for like, man, the pay was like super low. I was only getting like $250 a month for that, but it was only like 2 hours a day. And it was Saturday and Sunday when I had to do it. It was literally only like 2 hours a day, and the drive kind of wasn't that bad. It was a straight little job, but it just didn't really pay shit like that. But that was the first commercial cleaning job I remember I had taken, and I did that for about maybe I think I did that for about maybe 3 months, just trying to really get by, pay bills. And I was cleaning houses during the day because I told myself I didn't want to work at all. Like, I did not, really want to commit to the system like that. So I just told myself I'm gonna just, clean houses during the day, and whatever comes. Again, like, yeah, I was making damn near like at least $400 a week, and that was a lot of money back then. When the rent was only like $900, and I think it was me and that was when me and my brother were there. That was before he went to Arizona, and then shit, I was doing that for a little bit, and then after I did that, I got another job where I was cleaning. It was a library, and it was a library in Sandy Springs. I was doing that 4 times a week, and that lady was paying me like $400 a month. But that little job was cool because I remember it just was cool going to the little library, and it was only like 2 hours. I was the only one that was there. It paid monthly, I remember, because that's how she got paid. So I was just kind of learning. So the reason why these contracts basically keep paying, or these jobs essentially keep paying every month, because that's how they get paid. So it wouldn't make sense for them to pay me, out of they own income that they making from something else, and instead they paying it from the money they get it on the job. Like, if the contract it was with a library, so those are guaranteed payments. Like, you're not going to have to sit back and wait, on the money, or wait on payroll, or all these other different things. Like, if it's a government contract, it's guaranteed. So when I did that, I was automatically getting my money. So, I did that for a little bit, but then I remember my car had messed up, so I quit that job. And then, ironically, at the same time when I quit that job, that's when I had applied for this job. I don't even remember how I got the base, but it was for this company called Kimco Services, and they had a Chase Bank that was on right down the street from that library I was doing. But on the day that I was gonna go do it, my car had messed up. But when I had met the guy that was gonna give me the job there, and I told him where I lived at, he said, "Dude, we got those same banks available right now. We need a cleaner for those right now." And those banks were literally right up the street from me. I mean, I could walk there. So he had given me the 2 banks that were like right up the street to where I could walk, instead of the ones that were by the library, which was damn near like 15 miles away. So it was a blessing. And man, I had that job for like 3 years doing that shit. it didn't really pay that much, but like that's again like you learn with commercial cleaning, like it really you have to be kind of a sick type of mindseted kind of individual to be in this. You have to be like somebody that is indifferent because you're gonna be working at night. Shit, you might end up going to places again, and in crazy parts of town. So you might have to. You definitely probably gonna have to carry a gun, depending on where you live at. You're gonna encounter all kind of weird situations. People, coming in and in and out of places and stuff. While you cleaning and all. You just got to get used to the regimen of it because you got to do that shit on holidays. It was several years I missed Thanksgivings and Christmases with my family, for years doing that commercial cleaning stuff. So, it's a hell of a dedication you got to have to it, if you decide to do it. But again, like I had to understand that in order for me to really do the business properly, because what sense would it make for me to try to go and do a business with that? But I never really actually had to go and clean and do it myself. So, oh no, I don't need that. So I did those banks for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. And I had another job I remember during that time where I was cleaning at the Apple store, Perimeter Mall, and then it was at Lenox Mall too. It was for this company called W Services. And again, that was just more little experiences I had learning how to, the system work, learning, the regimen of doing it. So that again, if I hire somebody now, I understand what they're getting into. Then that got us into what we were in. That leads us into 2021. Yeah, but by this time, I again like as I was cleaning houses and doing that stuff too. So I was doing a lot of other stuff because in the cleaning industry you have the commercial cleaning thing, which is the most profitable because you get a reoccurring payment with that. Then you have post construction cleans. I don't really do those. I had worked and did a couple of jobs like that, but I don't really like that because it's really detailed and you got to be in there cleaning drywall dust and it got to be all spick and span and shit. Like I don't really like doing that shit. Then they got detail cleaning, which is essentially the same thing. You in there spending like hours and hours and hours doing that stuff. It don't pay nothing. And then you have what they call the move out cleans, and it may just be like, let's say, a large conglomerate like American Homes for Rent or somebody like Invitation Homes or somebody like that, and they got like, let's say 1,000 properties in between Georgia, South Carolina, Arkansas, and Kentucky or something like that, and they need vendors in the Atlanta area, and let's say they got 50 properties in the Atlanta area, and if you're willing to go even further out, they'll have even more properties for you. And they'll give all that to you, maybe let's say at $150 a clean, and it may last for about 6 months. And you get paid every single week. So, you have those, and that's what I used to do, and that's kind of what had attracted me to the cleaning business is the fact that, because again, growing up, I showed y'all all the little vacant properties and stuff like that on the page. That's what we grew up around. Like we used to literally grow up playing hide and go seek inside vacant homes in Riverdale, and you know what I'm saying. And we used to have fun. Like it was normal just to see that. So I used to think to myself like, who would clean these houses when it's time for somebody to move in there? And that's when I noticed the business, and and I did that. But like I said, I just used to notice when I used to go and do those houses and be cleaning, it would be other people there that would be doing other stuff like electrical work, or what I'm saying, that they may be doing some contract work, or you may have a guy like doing the stuff like I do now where it was the maintenance stuff. And I used to just notice like, damn, these folks will be in here an hour in, they may carry a couple of little tools or whatever, and then they out the door. Meanwhile, I'm in there slaving, breaking my back, saying climbing up and down, cabinets, cleaning in cabinets, scrubbing down tubs. I mean, I was working my ass off doing that shit. And mind you, I had a college degree. So, I really did not have to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, I could have really just went and got some corporate job or did some shit and just said, fuck all that. But I had to do it because I was trying to learn the system and learn how the whole thing worked. And, I just used to notice those maintenance guys, man. Those guys would come and then, they would be doing the same stuff, like getting basically from the same person that hired me, but they would just go and like fix a basic little toilet leak or some simple shit. And I used to be noticing like, damn, they used to be in and out faster than me. And I used to notice like, I want that job because it just seems to me like they get done with stuff quicker. So around like 2021, I just started, looking for maintenance stuff. Like, I didn't even really know it like that, but I was just like, those guys make way more money and they doing way less work. So it would be dope if I could like maybe build up a team where I could hire somebody and then get like a commercial cleaning contract and then have and then have like the maintenance stuff that I do during the day. And it just so happened that in 2021, I remember I was applying for jobs, and I remember that company. I don't really want to talk too much about this right now. Like I said, I really want to just talk about that more with the Patreon and stuff. But I'll go more in detail about that later. But I'll just give like a brief, synopsis of it now. Oh, I went to college at Georgia Southern. It's like a mid level college down there in a town called Statesboro, Georgia. If you ever heard of the town where Offset from the Migos had got locked up when they were like coming up in like 2015 and he was locked up for a while, and when they were kind of on their little rise, he had got locked up in Statesboro, basically for the same shit that we got locked up for. My homeboy got locked up for it, got our door kicked in. Yeah, I graduated with a BA in history and a minor in writing. Yep, I could at least say I graduated from that. I couldn't, I would have felt ashamed had I did all that and never graduated. But shit, where was I? Yes, that's when I 2021. Yeah, I remember that's when I had started doing maintenance and shit. I got on with this company. Basically with this guy, it was this Jewish guy and his brother, and they have a management company here in Atlanta, and they make lots of money, and they basically are like slumlords that take advantage of low income people that's throughout the city, and and they make a lot of money basically. But I was working with this company, and shit, when I got hired on with them, I really was lucky because like I said, I didn't have the experience like that. And I came in, and when I came in, I told the guy that I'm gonna come in, and what I'm saying, I'm gonna eventually hire somebody. And because at the time I didn't know it like that, but I did know business because like I told you, all these years I was working and doing this stuff and learning and just sitting back watching, watching how they would hire maintenance guys, watching how I would just go to this property and clean, and I would speak with, with whoever the owner was at that time, and just kind of just, observe, and, how they moved, and like how they hired people. And I just was just observing that for a long period of time to where I just saw what to do. And this was about 2021. So at this point, man, we talking like 4 years in. And my goal at that time, was again to go into commercial cleaning, but I didn't really know how to really get the contracts like that by myself. That was the dilemma I was having. But I knew in order to do it, because I was watching a lot of videos on YouTube, and a lot of them were talking about like, again, having to meet up with different groups, and I did all that stuff, but none of that really worked. I just was really trying to figure out how the hell do I get these contracts on my own where I could hire somebody and do this. But, as time was going on, I didn't really know where to go. So I would just look on Craigslist and just look to maybe see if I could work for like another cleaning company and try to like do a third party sub that way, And that didn't work, man. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't work. And I had tried that for like about 2 years. So that's why I just said, screw this. And I had just started doing maintenance at the time. And then, man, the maintenance thing, it just ended up being a blessing. Because I remember when I started it, It was in April of 2021, and man, y'all know what's crazy? I think I still got the I still got the Google call from when I got hired from that company that year. I'm gonna post that on my Patreon one day. I'm gonna show y'all that video because I had ended up finding that shit. But yeah, man, when I got hired by them, like I just knew I was gonna make a lot of money because I had always told myself if I could just get on with a company that at least pays decent, you know what I'm saying, and like give me consistent work, then I'll be able to probably, make more money in this stuff. So that's when I did it. And then I made enough to where, soon I have found this ad from this company called Kaizen Solution. And then they had basically told me, like, bro, if you could come up with like basically $1,200, we'll get you the contracts. Now, like I said, to explain how all that worked, it's something very detailed that I would really have to, like I said, really sit down and break down like numbers and do all that stuff. But and like I said, that's like something that I would have to really concentrate and do. But that was how I got into it. It was through that company Kaizen. But like I said, for me to learn what to do to work with Kaizen, I had to work in the industry for a bunch of years and actually do the work. So that's really how I learned how to do the business. And then when I paid and got on with Kaizen during that time, I was doing maintenance. And then one day I remember, cause see, like I said, I was naturally a businessman. I'm gonna be honest. Like my dad was a hustler. My dad was a dude who did not go to. He despised the system. I mean, he never really wanted to work for nobody, and I think that's kind of where that gene in me had came from. Like that Northfleet gene, like like he just never wanted to really like work for nobody, and I always was that same way. And my dad sold caskets. My dad sold chicken wings. My dad sold insurance. My dad sold ads in the paper. Ironically, I even heard my dad was in production and did video production work for some guy named Jasper Williams. So, I mean, he was in the same shit that I was in. It's just he just had an ego. He's bipolar, undiagnosed, and just got a lot of other personal issues that gets in his way, to where you can't climb the ladder to your own success. And I just never had that in me to want to really do work for somebody. So like I said, I always had that gene of knowing how to work with people and knowing how to, compromise, for the better of the team. And because, I guess a lot of that, too, kind of came from playing basketball too. Because, like usually when you play a sport, you have to like, you have to do it for the better of a team and shit like that. And I ain't gonna lie, man. I guess through my years, I would say from like playing basketball and growing up in a neighborhood with nothing but boys, Deuce was much older than me. Like I said, I had to compromise in a lot of ways like that. It was like, a lot of times I had to fight dudes and do those stuff like that, and they much older than me. So it's times you may want to fight somebody, you may not want to fight them. So you got to compromise in different little ways. So I would say little ways of how I grew up. Knowing how to deal with people, knowing how people get greedy about money and resources, me knowing how to allocate my own resources, like all that kind of played into me knowing how to do my own business. And so by the time 2021 came, when I got on with that company Superior, I hired a maintenance guy first before I did the commercial cleaning thing. I had hired a maintenance guy first. And that paid way more money because, it was so many work orders that were coming in, and I knew that I could create invoices that were profitable enough for me to where I was like, yeah, man, like I'm about to go in and run this. And I was like, all I really need to do is just get somebody to do the work, and I'm good to go. And I remember at that time I tried to hire a guy off of Craigslist, and the guy ended up bullshitting, and it was a mess I had to go through with that stuff, man. And eventually, that's when I had hired the white guy. I remember Ray, and Ray was good, man. That was the end of that year, and that's kind of when I was learning how to actually like hire somebody and get paid, because I was paying Ray. He was getting. I remember when I hired him at the time, I was like, man, I'm gonna get you like $500 to $700 a week. I was paying him about maybe 400 to 500 a week at the time for the maintenance stuff, and I was probably getting about close to the same, and we were getting paid good at that time, man. Like I said, this was during a year after COVID, so people were still running around with masks. They didn't really have all this inflation and shit yet, so things were still relatively decent then, and we were getting paid good. Like times were good at that time when I look back on it. And then that October, I remember that's when I found Kaizen, and I remember I had spoke with this pretty. I know y'all probably saw her, but y'all saw the little pretty light skinned girl that was in the she was in the one video I did with the when I had got the first contract when we had did that summer. I remember I had spoke with her because she was like the representative for them, and then she was breaking down all this stuff about a sales and marketing fee, and and just all this different. What the fuck? I don't remember this. I don't remember this part in the game. I don't remember these dogs coming this soon. Yeah, motherfucker. Fuck. I swear I don't remember these motherfuckers coming this soon in the game. Yeah, but that pretty girl from Kaisai, she was the representative at that time, and I remember she was telling me, basically all I had to do was come up with $1,200. I had to already have an LLC. I had already had my LLC filed in 2018 when I told y'all I was trying to start all this stuff and do it back then. And but my again it's a difference between having a business and then having an LLC. Like I just had basically just an LLC. Like a lot of the stuff I was doing, it was all 1099. It didn't really get registered. I mean, I don't need to probably say this, but that shit didn't get filed to the IRS. Like, what I mean? Like, yeah, none of that shit even matter. I mean, to be honest, none of that matters to the IRS until you start getting thousands of dollars anyway. I mean, unless you like a millionaire, they ain't studying what you doing. Knock on wood. But but yeah, man, like as soon as I said that, 5 listeners said, "Hi IRS, don't worry, I'm gonna file my taxes this year." Not, but yeah, I remember all shit. All, but yeah, at the time, she was explaining all this stuff about this thing called a sales and marketing fee. It's basically like, because you don't want to have to spend all this time as a business going out trying to get work. Like it takes a lot. You come out better just hiring a company. If they get they little 25-35% off the contract, fuck it, let them get that. Just make sure that the numbers are right on it whenever you accept something from them, and you really straight. You know what I mean? Like you ain't gonna be hurting for money, just because they get a large percentage. Plus they paying the insurance. You got to be insured if you're gonna have the business, and you got to get workers' comp insurance. And with that shit, they audit you every month. Because I had it at one point, and it's like one month you might be paying, like, let's say a regular premium be $200. Once they see you starting to make some money, now your shit going up to $500 a month, and that's just to have the damn insurance rate, the insurance policy. So yeah, that shit there was not the move, and that's why I was like, yeah, screw it. I'm gonna go ahead and just sign with this company because I don't want to have no insurance, and then I don't want to be the one to have to go out and do the marketing. Like I don't want to have to, be kissing these folks' ass and doing all that stuff to try to get the contracts. Like just set me up. When y'all do this thing called a walkthrough, basically they let me know, what's going on. They break down the numbers of what they gonna get, what I'm gonna get, and then if it's something I agree to, then I sign and I go from there. I mean, y'all saw the process. Like literally everything I showed y'all, except the paperwork, is how exactly it goes. And then am I going the right way? No. Yeah, but I didn't understand all this stuff at the time. And then, like I said, bro, I was making so much money doing that maintenance stuff. I didn't really like care. I was just like, you know what? Let me just get into this and learn it. And whatever I make off of it, I make, because like I said, I was making like, when I started the maintenance thing again, when I hired that guy Ray. Before him, I remember I hired this other idiot, and this dude, he tried to end up telling me what he was going to charge me for the jobs when I told him what I was going to pay him per job, essentially. And then that wasn't going to work. And then he was basically, it was like I hired him, and then he had somebody that basically he was like hired under, and I was contacting that guy, and I was getting confused. I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm talking to the guy that I thought I hired, and you saying you working for this other dude. I'm like, what the hell? And I remember I said, you know what, man, y'all can have this shit. I was like, I'm gonna have to find somebody else. I remember that it was that idiot. I remember him. See, as I'm talking about this, all this stuff is coming back to my memory. And I remember I hired this fucking idiot. He almost messed my business up doing that. And then after that, that's when I said, you know what, man, screw this. I'm gonna hire a white guy. I told myself at that time, you know what, I'm either gonna hire a white guy or a Mexican, because this might work out a little bit better. Forget all that brother man shit. Like I'm gonna have to either hire a white guy or a Mexican now. And then that's when I hired Ray. And Ray was a former heroin addict, but this guy was in the military, so he had some structured discipline to him, and he worked already in construction. I mean, again, like all these guys, that's addicts. They basically work in the construction industry. Am I going back again? Yeah, I'm just talking. But yeah, I remember I hired him, and then that's when we were taking off. And then Ray got big headed on me. He thought that he could do his own thing, and I said, okay, cool, And he did say that it was only going to be for a short period of time, but I guess he kind of thought he could do his own thing. And then after that, I had to find somebody else. But that's when I kind of just started doing it myself. And then eventually, that's when I came up with the money. And damn, where do I go? I don't go back into the village, do I? Then I remember, yeah, that's when I finally got on with Kaizen. And I remember during that time, when I was working with Superior, it was a work order I had one time, and I, what I would do with the work orders, they would give me the number of the tenant, and I would call them and just say, I'm such and such for blah 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 blah, and then it just so happened that day, the girl that I had called, I just had got really curious, because she was saying that she had to go do something that day, and I had got curious and asked her what she was gonna go do, and she said she was gonna do a cleaning assignment. And at the time, I had just was about to pay that money to get that business, and I thought about her. I said, you know what? Because she was doing Airbnb cleanings, and I told her, I said, that's another thing I was gonna say. Like, that's another business I don't like. That shit right there is real detailed. You got to be in there making sure tissue is folded a certain way, the beds are plopped a certain way, that a fucking the goddamn soap is propped a certain way, and it's just too much. Like, it ain't like you just clean it and get the fuck out of there. And I didn't like Airbnb cleaning, but you can make a decent amount of money off of it, but it's just really detailed. And I remember I told her, because I had already been doing commercial cleaning for a minute. I told her, I was like, I can make you more money if you were to get into this instead of the Airbnb shit. I wasn't asking her how much she made, because again, after my years of doing it for so long, I just knew, like, with the commercial cleaning thing, you getting paid every 30 days. So the Airbnbs, again, they come every so often. You don't really predict when they come. But when you got a contract that you sign, and like I said, it's a 30-day payment, and they need you there for a 5-day service or whatever, you're going to get that payment every 30 days regardless of what's going on. So you ain't got nothing to worry about. It's like your work security is basically guaranteed. That's why I like commercial cleaning. compared to residential and all that other stuff. But I told her, I was like, let me just get your information, and like I said, and we'll talk one day. I didn't know what I was gonna get for her. I didn't know that I was gonna get a decent contract that was gonna end up being some, like it was. I had no idea of this. I just told her, just give me your information. If I need you one day, maybe this will work out. But in the beginning, when I got on with Kaizen, I said, no, I'm going to do all the work. I don't really want to hire nobody. I'm going to do all this myself. And at the time, my friend India, I was going to get her because me and her, like I said, them years when I was cleaning with Mark and all that other stuff, that's when me and her were tagging along. And like I said, she was living with me at that time, and basically doing this with me. So, man, me and her were making a lot of money during that stuff. But during this time, she was pregnant. So, and she had just had her son, so she wasn't able to really to do the work with me like that. So if it wasn't for me hiring the girl I hired, I was gonna have India do it. But at the time I didn't have nobody to help, and I was doing that maintenance stuff, and it was so much money that, and I got lazy doing it, to be honest. Like I said, I was sitting at home making, y'all saw me doing this shit. I was making literally $500 to $700 a week doing that, just sitting at home. All right, we're going to have him there tomorrow, hire somebody to go do the jobs. And like I said, they were out there beating their tires up in car and all that stuff. My little Central was sitting at home chilling. I was at home eating good, live streaming. Shit, like I said, smoking good, drinking good, eating good. I was having a good time during that time, and was making money. So I was spoiled from that, to be honest, and I thought them days was going to last forever. I just didn't know it was gonna come to an end like it did. But I kind of got back in the field when I got on with that company, Kaizen. And at the time, I told myself I'm gonna get a building and then figure out who I could put in the building or whatever. But I really was trying to get the specials, and see, like I said, and when you get a contract with a company, you could get what they call specials. And basically, let's say for the same reoccurring service you doing, you notice the floors are beat up, or you notice the windows are dirty, you charging their ass per window. So for each window partition you cleaning on the exterior and the interior of the facility, you charging them for that. So you might make it might be like $1,000 job just to clean the windows. You know what I'm saying? Now, unfortunately, Kaizen, because of that contract I was telling you that how it's set up, they get it's almost like a 360 deal in the music industry. Like anything that I do that's related to that building, in addition to the reoccurring 30-day service, they getting damn near 50% of that shit. But like I said, they're paying the workers' comp insurance. They taking the liability, in case anything go wrong. And all I really got to do is just have somebody in there and get a percentage of it. So it's good that, it's set up like that. But, in the beginning when I got on with them, I was doing, basically little specials. I think I showed y'all a couple of those jobs. I had did a floor cleaning job. I did a couple of them I was going to put on YouTube, but I didn't put it on there because the jobs didn't really turn out as good as I wanted them to, even though I got paid. But I didn't really want to, put it out there like that, because I was thinking this shit really didn't even turn out that good. But I got paid pretty good. I was making damn near $500. These were $500 jobs, like I said, for just cleaning the windows for 2 hours, or the little machine that I had showed y'all, using that to scrub the floors and do a strip and wax, or just do a detailed scrub or something like that. Oh shit, I was getting paid good for that. And but the thing about those jobs is that they come every so often, and you got to really hustle to get those jobs. And it's not worth really trying to build your business strictly on that when you're starting out, because you're gonna have a lot of costs you're gonna have up front, and it's not worth it compared to the 30-day thing, where all you really got to do is just have cleaning supplies and you in there making money off the top. But yeah, in the beginning, man, I was doing that, and I remember it was a building I took, because again, that shit didn't pay nothing but $265 a month. It was huge. I showed y'all that building too. That shit was 13,000 square foot. It really was a decent account when I look back on it, but it was, I feel like I didn't get really paid nothing, because like I said, Kaizen took half of the percentage on it, so I wasn't really making shit off of it. And again, once at this time I was doing maintenance, so I'm like, what's the point of me going to work
for $245 or $65 a month when I'm making that per week and I'm sitting on my ass like with the maintenance thing. So I'm like, this is pointless. So I remember that was every it was once a week, and really it only took like maybe an hour and a half to do. It was really a decent building, man, and I should have kept it looking back on it, but I was so greedy and just so disillusioned at the time that I just decided, man, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna give this up. But I remember I had that, and that's when I was like, man, I don't know if this little 30-day service thing, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get something. And then some months had went by, and then I remember one day I was coming back from a work order, and then that guy called me, the marketing director for the company Kaizen. He called me and he said, hey, I got this account that this guy's trying to give up. And because basically they have other vendors that they have that paid into the thing just like me, but they don't have cleaners. Like they all trying to go do the work themselves. Like they don't understand what I'm gonna explain. It's called the Machiavelli principle. Like they don't understand that. Like they'll rather be the ones to go and try to do all the work. And and I remember he had told me, he said, hey, I got this building, this account for you, because I told him after a while, I said, I had been working with them for some months, and I told him after a while, really, bro, like that, I don't really want to take an account unless it's paying, really, like, I'm like, bro, if that shit ain't paying like at least $1,000 and up per month, I ain't taking it. Don't even call me, you know what I mean? Don't text me, like what the boy Tip say though. I don't want to kick it with you. I don't want to text. I don't want to skate. I don't want to do none of that. Like if that shit ain't $1,000 and up, then S&S Cleaners ain't budging. And he understood that, but like I said, I had to prove why I was saying that. I had to prove that after a while. I was just talking shit at the time, but in business you got to prove that. And you know what I'm saying? Because if I can't prove that, then he ain't gonna give me no more work. It don't even matter if you paid into the service. It's like, if you can't prove you could suffice the work that they give you, then what's the point of them supplying you more work? And shit. Oh shit. And then he called me that day. I remember it was randomly. I was coming back from a work order. He said, "Yeah, I got this account that one of their vendors was one of the other people that had paid into the service. He was giving it up because I guess he didn't. I don't know why he didn't want to do it no more, but it was just a blessing." And then he said that he needed somebody for it right then and there. And I was like, shit. And it was down there on the side of town where the girl that I told y'all about that I had spoke to on the phone months ago. And I had thought about her. And I thought to myself, I really need to take that account. And then he said, this shit is paying $1,600 a month. I said, oh, shit. And that's when I kind of had, square my eyes and, squinch my eyes. I said, okay, let me call her and see if she could do this. Because I was like, nah, I can't miss out on this. And fucking he I just told him, man, you know what, fucking I'm gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? If she don't do it, then I'll find somebody for it. I remember I had told myself, I was like, I can't pass up on this. And then I remember I called her and I told her, I said, I got this available, and I could pay you I can't remember what I had told her. Out of that 1,600, Kaizen was damn near gonna get like half of that shit. I don't remember exactly what they got and what I got. All I remember is I was getting $250 and she was getting like $650 a month off of it. And she was doing this for 5 days a week. It was basically like a 40-minute clean. And see, at the time I was so dumb and naive, and like I said, I was making so much money doing the maintenance shit. I wasn't looking at all the parameters involved as far as like how often she had to do it, how long it took her, and how much she really should have gotten paid. Because she really should have gotten paid just $600 flat a month. But I ended up paying her extra because I was trying to hurry up and get her to accept the building because I didn't want to, let the deal off the table. And sometimes, you might end up having to do that, in certain scenarios. But yeah, we had got her in there, and I had, I never had even met this girl. I don't want to say her name. But I had never even met this girl, when I hired her. And ironically, that day when we were doing the walkthrough for the building, that was the first time I met her. And then she showed up. We did the walkthrough, like y'all saw the video. Like I said, that's when the pretty girl, Brianna, was in there. She was showing us and stuff like that. Y'all saw my cleaner briefly, off camera. But that's when I had met her that day. And like I said, we were, discussing all that and stuff like that. And then ironically, when we were talking and stuff, um, she her car, her battery had just messed up all of a sudden. It was like weird. It was like like God almost had wanted us there to, like, to talk about that stuff. And I remember, like I said, that time I was telling this girl all about SNS and, the stuff I'm trying to do with this live streaming, the stuff I'm trying to do with the productions, making bigger videos, really everything that y'all been seeing in the last couple of years. Like, I was telling her about all that, and like how this cleaning business is essentially gonna fuel all this. So, what you a part of is bigger than just this business. I mean, you're gonna be getting paid, you know what I mean? And I told her at the time, I said my goal in the next 2 years is to get you at least about $2,000 a month doing this shit. I had told her that. I was just, like I said, just hyped up talking, but I said I'm gonna get you about I said, but 2 years I'm gonna get you $2,000 a month doing this shit. And it's sure enough, man, that ended up happening, bro. But just to go down the timeline, she like I said, we just talked for a long time, and she told me a lot of stuff about her family and how she had family members that had just died, and and stuff, that while she was doing her cleaning business, and she was telling me about her husband, and just stuff she had going on in her life. And and it was just real candid that we had that moment to talk, like I said, that because it wasn't just about business, like. And to be honest, we probably would have never really talked like that if her car didn't mess up. And I remember I had tried to jump her battery, ironically, and then I called AAA, and we were sitting there waiting on them and stuff. And then that's when we had to talk. And then ironically, when AAA showed up, they jumped the battery like it was nothing. I was like, wow. So it was like God had set that moment up, I guess, for us just to to talk or whatever. Because here it is, 3 years later, she's still working with me. And like I said, man, it's hard to find loyal people like that'll consistently do work for you, and and not screw you over. And me and her have had moments and stuff, with money where things weren't really like quite clear, and I had to kind of clear things up. And I mean, we've had it like that, what I'm saying? That's just a part of business. But she's still around, and matter of fact, I gotta pay her this Friday because I get paid this Friday from them. So she's still around, man. But like I said, that's when we sealed that contract. And then a month later, that's when that thing with all that, cause that maintenance company I was talking about, that's when all that ended. So when that ended, that's when I really, really had needed the commercial cleaning thing to go right. So, I had her in that building, and like I said, I tried the Airbnb cleaning thing as well. That was that fall, because at that fall, like I said, when everything fell south, I was just trying to do whatever to make money. Like I was like, I ain't gonna lie, that shit was like, like being an addict and having to go cold turkey. Like when I had to go and get a regular job when that maintenance thing ended. Like it really was, man, because I was 29, and like I said, making that kind of money and not having to work, it was really hard to go back to like regular life after that. But I had to go back to hustling then, and whatever little stuff I could take, again, cleaning houses again and all. But by the grace of God, I still had that contract. So like I said, when we signed that contract in July of 2022, we didn't get our first payment for that until that September. Because remember, they pay every 30 days. So as the cycle rolls over, you don't get paid until the first Friday of the month. Like I said, like this Friday, I get paid. And it was, I remember I didn't get paid to that September. And then I remember I was thinking, like, based on what the contract was, I'm going to get X amount of dollars. But because of that sales and marketing fee shit I was telling y'all about, when I got that first payment, that shit was like, it was like $200 or $300 less than what I was supposed to get. I'm like, man, what the fuck? And I just remember I was so confused, and I was mad because, like I said, I had needed that money at the time. I had just lost my job and shit. So I'm like, man, this is some bullshit. But I had to pay her out of my pocket at the time, like money that I had personally had. I had to pay her that because Kaizen had taken some money out of what they were owed, out of getting me the contract. And then that was the first time I had really understood what the sales and marketing thing really, really was. Because like I said, like every company does it out here. And I think damn near in every industry. They may just term it differently, but in every industry, if it exists out here. And they got me with that shit. And that was at the time, like I said, when I really had needed that money. And I had her, and like I said, she was still doing the work, and I just kept her busy. I was doing whatever I could, man. I was going on Craigslist, shit, Airbnb cleanings, shit. Like I was telling y'all, the person stuff. If it was somebody again that had a contract, and and they needed a cleaner in there, and that shit was paying $600 a month, I was like, fuck it, I'd go in there and let her get $450, and I get $150 out of that. You know what I'm saying? I was doing whatever I could, like I said, to get that position back where I didn't have to do the work, because that shit is like a drug. Like once you have a business and you get in that position, you do not want to lose that. You do not want to lose it, man. But by the grace of God, I remember that September when like I said, this was a month after that shit with that Superior thing ended. That guy, the marketing director, that guy Andrew hit me up. Because like I said, me and him are real tight. You know, it's like me and him got a real good relationship. And this is an older white man. You know, this man is probably in his 60s. You know, he's been doing this shit before I was born. The company's been around for, I want to say now, probably like 40 plus years. Like they've been around for a long time. You know, and I learned a lot, you know, just working with this guy. But like I said, this man is, you know, all he does is marketing, you know. And I remember he said something that made a lot of sense to me when he was like, you know, with certain contracts you try to get, they have a rule called the 20% above and the 20% below. Like if you get one where they willing to pay 20% above what the normal rate is, then, you know, you ain't going to have too many of these issues with the contract. It's going to be smooth. But if it's 20% below, you may get the contract, they going to pay out, but it's going to be some bullshit with it. And I know what he mean by that shit, you know, dealing with this business now. But, you know, just like little stuff he says, man, it's like, you know, I just picked up on a lot of this stuff over the years. And like I said, I've personally met this guy. This dude that literally pulled up to my apartment one time and we talked. So, you know, like I said, me and him got a real tight relationship. So he knows, like, whenever I'm trying to get something, he gonna send me like work that's worth where I'm going to make the money. Because I told him basically, you know, when I signed up with this company, my goal was to make it where I'm like a mini y'all. Like I'm gonna have my cleaner, and I'm basically gonna get a percentage off of what they labor is, and then I'm basically gonna be the administrator, and they're gonna be the labor. And he said okay, you know, and like I said, we've been rolling like that since. So we've been rolling like that since. Yeah, the 250. Yeah, hell yeah. That was the first contract I had it was 250 for me. She got 650 a month, and Kaizen got the rest of it for you know, for setting the whole thing up. And like I said, I didn't do nothing. All I did was what y'all saw in that video. That was the first and last time I went to that building, bro. And no, the last time I went to that building was when I showed the video back in September when I cleaned it. That was the last time I had been to it. Before then was when I showed y'all that first video. I never stepped foot in that building after that. Yet and still I was getting that 250 a month. I think the El Gigante is next. Yeah, when I say I didn't want to do none of the work, I didn't want to do nothing. I just bought her the supplies. I paid my own personal money for that stuff. I'm like, hell, if I gotta pay that, and you know what's crazy? In all my years is when I got with this company Kaizen, I've never taken a loss. Every year I've profited every single year. Never have taken a loss with this company. It really has been. It has. It's been really divine. Not even gonna lie. Because a lot of people that run this type of business, they don't last, you know, no longer than like maybe shit 6 months. They in and out, and then that shit is done. I remember this guy was pretty fucking weak until you load it up. Yep, that was how I got on with her. And like I said, this lady, she's older than me. I mean, she probably, man, if I just started turned 34, she probably maybe 40 now. And like I said, I'm I'm like one of the youngest people to do this stuff, man. I started, all this when I was 29. Again, like right now where I'm at with the business, like again, like it's been kind of rough, with companies wanting to hire people, especially for like services they feel like either they could get somebody to do in the company or something they just don't want to pay for. So a lot of them really aren't really hiring cleaning services like that. Um, and then the contracts that they are offering are like some bullshit. Like I told y'all, like if that shit ain't at least $1,000 and up, if I can't make at least $300 a month off of it doing nothing, then I don't want it. I don't want it. Huh? Oh shit! Come on, man. You can't cut me a deal. But I'll admit though, one thing I learned, like about business, is you can't come into the business just high stepping and just high rolling, as I call it. Saying that you ain't gonna do this if it ain't paying that, or oh man, y'all gonna have to have this. If I ain't gonna lie, bro, you can't come into a business automatically thinking that. Um, it take a little while, until you could kind of like get to that point where you can start demanding that, but you really do have to prove yourself first. I just feel like that's just in life in general. Like hell, even with this YouTube shit, like I mean, would nobody respect me trying to go live or do anything like that? I mean, unless I had done did something over the years. If I was just a motherfucker who just made a channel, let's say within the last 2 years, and I'm just trying to do something to attach to the algorithm. Since Resident Evil 4 just came out, now I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna stream Resident Evil 4. Like, now I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna stream that shit when I want to do it. Goddamn. Hell, I remember when this shit came out 20 years ago. It was literally around this same time when we were playing it. So it's just ironic that, like I said, I'm doing it right now. But you know, I had wanted to always like play this. I never, of course, could review it because it's not like it's a shitty game. And y'all know I only like to review the frustrating games, but you know, just trying to appease to an algorithm. Or just not just doing something and not having any type of respect for it. Like, you got to put in the work. I just feel like you got to put in the work with stuff. I mean, how many reviews have I done? Shit, I lost count with like 40 something reviews or some shit like that. I mean, that's a long time. I mean, so for me to say that I'm not gonna do a review right now, or oh shit, or I'm gonna chill out doing reviews or whatever. I mean, I feel like I deserve that, right? I mean, I've been doing this shit longer than some people on YouTube been alive. Like, I did quarterback club. Some people weren't even born, so I feel like I deserve my right. Fuck. I used to know how to beat this man with the knife. Let me see if I could do that. Just get in between his legs. Oh shit. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Alright, let me go get that yellow herb. Remix it. Damn, go down. Do I want to use it? Nah, I don't want to use it right now. I feel like I should. Yeah, that didn't do nothing. So did it make a difference? Oh, fuck. Oh, no, I can't let you win now. All right, now I gotta go in. I gotta go in. Damn. Son of a bitch. No, that's the wrong weapon. Fuck. Damn. Almost had that motherfucker. Almost had him. All right, let's see what they left me. Okay. That's a decent arsenal.
Oh shit! Damn, this motherfucker be sneaky. Damn, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm about to say like, damn. All right, reload. Oh, this motherfucker playing bowling with my ass. All right, donkey, you got a plan? Cause fuck. Oh no, 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 here we go. Oh. This game, no, it can get you no quick time events. Forgot about that. What? Man, you gotta be kidding me, dog. Damn. Motherfucker. You know what? I used to be able to knife this motherfucker. Let me see if I can try that. There we go. That should be it then. Yeah. I'm disappointed in myself in that run. I used all my shotgun ammo. I should have just knifed him. I'm going to have to run into him like 4 more times by the end of the game. Alright, let me go back to the merchant and see what we can do. Definitely need to upgrade this because this gun basically like a speedy pistol. Oh, just the capacity. Yeah. I'm probably gonna resell this shit. You know what? We gonna need this. We gonna need that. We gonna need that. I think we good there. Yeah, I should have knifed him, man. He used a lot of my fucking ammo. I don't got shit left. Like no shotgun shells. Yeah, man. Definitely gonna have to make up for that. Let me see. Is this an alternate path? Or did I come from here? This had to be an alternate path, right? No. I came from here. Oh, no. Fuck. Oh shit, you were just waiting to do that, weren't you? forgot about this part of the game. Ah, shit, motherfucker. All right, yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't need to go here. I did need some of them items though. That's for sure. I'm so used to in video games when you see new enemies, that mean you're going the right way. Guess you mean that you could correlate that to life too. Yeah, that definitely wasn't it. Oh, it's all good, man. Shit, I understand that. I don't want to hold nobody hostage in the stream. Damn, I just. Oh, shit. Fuck. Damn, I hate these dogs, man. Fuck. Motherfuck. The fuck off me.
Let me get all the items I need before I do that puzzle. What did they say in the meeting? These puzzles be so random. Yeah, man. People just know they know how to make things difficult for you, and you're just trying to make some damn money. I know that's the truth. Trying to make things all particular and stuff. It's like it's just a cleaning job. I mean, at the end of the day, it's either it's too dirty to use, or it's not clean enough to somebody else's standard. I mean, but at the end of the day, like, what the hell you want me to do to lick it, clean? Like, nobody about to fucking do that. Oh wow, yeah, that's some company BS for you. Yeah, that's the main thing about these jobs now. It's like, one thing I learned is that you cannot just take the stuff that they do personal. Like, you just literally have to just be in there, almost like they say, like a robot, where you just focus on trying to do, doing what you need to do to get what you need out of it, and that only. Like, you do exactly what you need to do to get paid, like nothing more, and obviously nothing less, because they'll take note of it. So, like, I swear that's how it is with any job out here. Don't matter if it's corporate or physical. Like, that's just how it is. But at the end of the day, who cares? I mean, it's all to please somebody else anyway. Caught him in a lie. Oh, getting close. Getting close. Damn. These puzzles be so random, man. Ah, motherfucker. Damn. Hold on. What the fuck? Yeah. Damn, that's fucked up. Kind of made me think about when I was working at McDonald's. I remember one time. Matter of fact, that was how I got fired. I remember because the guy I remember that was working back there that day. The I want to say the previous Saturday, that guy had came in there on his day off. I remember they had called him in there because I guess people were calling off and stuff, and they called him in. He came in there and it was something they asked him to do. And he didn't do it, and randomly he had got written up for that on his day off. And I thought, like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, how y'all write this man up? And he came in for y'all on his day off. Like, that shit just seemed kind of messed up. But it ended up backfiring on me for laughing about it because that next week when they had hired a new guy and he was working, the same guy was working that day on the table, and normally when things get really busy, you're supposed to have your top people in there, on the table. They not supposed, ain't nobody, in there supposed to be on the fucking grill. He was working on the grill that day, and he let them basically let me stay on the table with the new guy. And then I remember I was mad because I'm like, really, I was mad because I'm like, why y'all not making him get on the table? Like, he experienced. Like, why y'all just letting him just get away with that? Because they felt guilty from that previous week when they called him in there and then had wrote him up for something he didn't want to do. And I remember he had said, man, I ain't never coming in here for you bitches again on my day off. And then sure enough, that day he had came in for his regular shift, and I was working. And to get them back when they had a rush, he let me handle the rush by myself and then jump on the table when he was supposed to do that. But he was really doing that, getting back at them, and that ended up screwing me over because I got mad about the fact that they didn't tell him to get on the table. Because I wasn't going to just snitch on him and be like, man, just come jump on the table or whatever. Because I knew why he was doing it. And I felt him. But I'm like, I wouldn't have did me nobody like that. I mean, that dude was like 3 years older than me. I'm like, if it was, like usually the younger guys, when I worked with them when I was in there, I ain't never just leave them fucked up in there like that. Like, I always made sure I cleaned up whatever had to be cleaned up. You know what I mean? I had if it was a rush, I made sure if I had clocked out, I clocked back in and helped them on the rush and did whatever I had to do. I ain't never just leave them in there to be tortured like that by themselves, and then basically end up crashing out to where they can end up losing their job like I did. Cause I seen that happen like several times. After I had did it when I finally did get back working at McDonald's when I came back up here. But I seen that happen at so many different jobs I've been at. I've lost count at this point now. So I don't even feel bad about what I did. I mean, I was 18 years old. Like, it wasn't like I could control my emotions like that. I was pissed that day because, like I said, I'm like, this man, like, y'all know he's experienced enough. Y'all know he's supposed to be on the table. Like, why y'all got me doing this shit by myself and got this new guy in here during a rush? And and like I said, like the new guy, yeah, I'm like, y'all letting the new guy just work, during the rush. I mean, yeah, he getting the experience, but like, we need to clear the table. Like, I just thought that was fucked up how they did that. And like I said, that's when I learned at a young age, you can't never expect somebody to think the same way that you thinking. Because I thought to myself, well, this dude 3 years older than me, like, I wouldn't have left nobody messed up like that. Like, so I'm thinking that he's thinking the same way, but obviously he wasn't thinking like that. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't have the same standards and morals that I did, and because I'm sitting here trying to basically vicariously think that he's thinking like that, and then he don't think like that, then I get mad about it. It's like, I can't control how the motherfucker think. Like, I should have really just sat my ass on that table and moved slow, just like that dude, that new guy that was hired, and just kept making the orders. That's really what I should have did looking back on it, instead of crashing out and getting mad. Like, I'm like, that's that was that dude, Mr. Larry, making money. That wasn't like that money was going to me. So, like, what the hell was I really getting mad about? I feel like that was the stupidest shit I ever did. I didn't get a job for 5 years down there because of that. Because of that one thing I had said. 5 years because of that, man. So that's why every job I have now, I just shut up. I'll be quiet. And like I said, I mind my own damn business and do what I got to do and get the hell up out of there. Because I don't be wanting any mistake to happen. Because like I said, I know my mouth and I know I'm going to say the wrong thing. Because like I said, I don't want to really be there anyway. I'm like, we all doing this shit for some goddamn money. And they done made this system so rigid that they've overvalued money that ain't really worth shit. So we working hard for nothing, really. And since I've come to that realization, it's really hard for me to really sit at a job and just lock in like that. It's like, what the fuck am I even doing this for? So, yeah, once I had realized that, and then, like I said, once I realized everybody's not, abiding by the same standards and morals that I have, then fuck it. Then, like, if they don't care, then I don't care. I ain't about to get mad about something I can't control. Oh yeah, like shit, dude. When I worked at McDonald's, yeah, like it'll be times I remember we didn't have no breaks working there. It would be times it was literally three people in that shit and no breaks. Let me look how this figure this puzzle out. This is getting on my nerves. Fuck. Hold on. I have to restart it. I really need to restart this shit. There we go. There you go, you fuck. 160 hours? God damn. Oh nah, yeah, that's overworking yourself right there. Yeah, that's overworking yourself. Yeah, you right. They were expecting you to come in as a model, doing the same thing. But you ain't you don't want to do that. Shit, you come out better. Like I said, doing like I said. Oh man, get you like a day shift. If I were you, I wouldn't. After a while, it's probably okay now. But if I were you, I wouldn't even want to work a second shift like that. I'll get a first shift, like morning to evenings, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or something like that. I'll do that and then go find me one that's like I said, like 2 hours in the evening from like 5 to 7:30 or something like that. I'll do that instead of working, double shift, straight like that. Like yeah, that's a lot of work. And in the end, it's like it's not really going to equate to anything. So you come out better, like I said, just getting a part time job. Yeah, that's hard work right there, man. It's like that's what this system wants you to do is just to think that the more work you're doing, like the more money you're making. Like that's just not like whoever whatever dim fuck brained moronic ass brain idiot came up with that concept just has like severely misguided like generations upon generations of men out here. Like hard work just does not equate to more money. Like I told y'all, when I was doing that Sapir shit, y'all saw what I was doing. I was not working hard, and that's the most money I ever made in my life doing that. Since then, I've been out here having to go to work every day. Like I said, sometimes 7 days, really 7 days a week, and I'm not making nowhere near as much money as I was making back then. So it's like, yeah, hard work just don't equate to that, man. What equates to more money is being in position, to make more money and get more opportunities and and create more I guess tasks and stuff for people to do. Other than that, if you don't have time to do that and you're always working, like yeah, you're never going to make more money. Oh man, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, hopefully that work out, Alex. Yeah, but just don't overwork yourself, man. Having to feel like you got to kind of step up and inherit a certain burden because yeah, that sucks. Yeah, and then those bi-weekly pays, I know how that shit is. That shit sucks. Yeah, think like I said, if I were you, the best things you could do is oh yeah, they gonna let you. You gonna have to go through a probationary period before they start giving raises and stuff. That's just how that go. But the best thing I would tell you, like I said before, I would go on Indeed. You probably would come out better going on Indeed for these type of jobs and just type in cleaning in your area and look for the ones again that they say they may just want you in there only in the evening time. If you look for those type of jobs, they I know in New York they definitely pay more than they pay in Georgia. Um, you can go in there and like I said, do that, man, and that'd be like extra $500 or $600 on top of the money you make every 2 weeks. Some of them pay every single week. When I had the one I was telling you about at the Apple store, that paid every week. And in fact, it's ironic because that company was from somewhere called Hoppadog, New York. I couldn't even pronounce it. It was HAUPPAGNUE or something like that. But I remember that's where the company was based at. They paid real good. Yeah, W Services paid real good. Yeah, it sounds like they treating everybody well, but it sounds like it's a lot of parameters to get paid in that company. It don't sound like it sounds like it's more of like a if they offering insurance plans and stuff like that. It's not just a cleaning company. Like they probably like like a big company, and they just have a certain department that deals with cleaning, and that's just what they pay for. Yeah, if they giving raises like that, that's pretty professional. One thing I say to you too, Alex, um, in that cleaning industry, a lot of those companies, well, see, I think you probably work directly for a facility, so it may not be the case, but a lot of them are like contractual based. So the company has schools. Oh, so yeah, you work for one of those type of companies. Yeah, I'm going to tell you now. Did you sign a W-2 with them? Because you better do that. Because see, what happens with a lot of these companies is they lose those contracts after like a year. They may be good for like maybe a year and a half or something like that. Then all of a sudden they lose the contract and you'll be out of a job. So, but if you sign a W-2, you can collect unemployment from them. So that's what I would highly suggest you do. But if you get an insurance plan, you more than likely did. So kudos to that. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, as long as you signed the W-2, they could be they could not be they could be non-union and have a contract with whoever they dealing with. But as long as you signed an employee, I mean as an employee in a W-2 directly with them, then yeah, should be good to go. Because a lot of them want you to go in as 1099, so in case you do lose the job, they don't have to pay any benefits. But that's really what you want. Because when I lost that job with W Services, that's what I lived off of for a couple of weeks. First job was 1099. Yeah, yeah, that sounds pretty good. $15 an hour. That still seems like a lot of money to me. Because I mean, my first job was 5.85 an hour. But then again, shit wasn't as expensive as it is out here. So that little 5.85 actually was better than $20 an hour now. Yeah, most jobs really want to just pay you as a part time worker. Like I said, less benefits, less wages and taxes they gotta pay. So I understand it. I'm not even gonna lie. It's time has moved on, and being an adult, I can honestly say I've been on both sides of the field. As the employee and the employer. And I understand both sides of it. My whole thing is just I can't get caught in somebody else's dream, whatever low dream that they got for their thing. I can't get caught up in that and end up being frustrated and anxiety stricken over something they trying to do. It's always been my thing. Damn. Oh yeah, that's a big difference right there. That's like damn near half. They probably wanted you to be in it, and that's another thing. They really want you to slip up and do something so that they could cut your hours and reduce them to part time, so that they, like I said, they don't have to pay out those benefits and do all that other stuff that you would get full time, especially in cleaning in the cleaning industry in restaurant. Oh yeah, damn. Ah, hell no. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I feel you. It's no loyalty when you ain't getting paid. That's how I always see it. It's like I was telling y'all when I got that job with the Chase Banks. I remember the guy that had hired me. He had told me because at the time when I was doing the library, and I was trying to discern on if I should stay doing that or or quit it or whatnot. And I remember he told me, he said, "Hey, whatever paid the most, that's what you better stick with." I remember when he said that, man. That always stuck with me. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, if they were chipping at the hours like that, that's not worth it. It should have just been upfront when they hired you and said what they were looking for. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's how you got to do all these jobs. I mean, to be honest, I don't care if I was a software engineer or something right now. I'm not prioritizing that shit over live streaming, making these reviews, doing everything we gonna be doing in the Reisdent family, doing everything I'm gonna be doing with SNS Productions. because I still got some short movies that I'm gonna be working on. And now that I'm a little bit more acclimated, I'm really probably gonna start working on that now, as far as like little stuff I want to do. But mainly, I want to still get ready to do that Vice City Stories review because I don't know, for some reason I've been watching the like the Scarface clips lately. Not like of my review, but like the movie Scarface, and I don't know why that shit just is fucking hilarious to me. Like the whole movie, like the acting, like the characters, like I mean everything. Like that shit was just funny, and it just had me thinking I want to recreate this movie basically, but with my review. We would have done that when we did the Scarface review the first time, but I technologically wasn't prepared. Damn sure couldn't have did that on the computer that I had at the time. Damn sure couldn't have did it with the camera that I had. Mainly the computer. The camera was straight. But that computer, that wasn't gonna work. Oh, the red 9. See, I don't know if this is as powerful as my handgun though, upgraded. You know what's funny about Scarface though is just that one part when like when he was on the phone with Sosa. Like for some reason that scene always like stuck out with me in that movie. Like it was funny. Like he was about to do the cocaine. He's like, put him on speaker. Put him on speaker. Tony, what happened? Alice, how you doing there? Tony, what happened? Oh, we had some problems, Alice? Tony, what happened? We had a little problem. Oh yeah, I heard. Oh yeah, how you hear that? Because our friend had gave a speech today at the UN. He was not supposed to give that speech, Tony. Yeah, well, your guy Umberto, he's a piece of shit, I told him to do something. He didn't listen to me, so I had to cancel his fucking contract. He was like, my partners and I are pissed off, Tony. It's no big deal. There's other Umbertos, We do it next month. He was like, no, Tony, you can't do that. He was like, he had like a growl in his voice when he said that shit. He had got like a growl in his voice. He was like, no, Tony, you can't do that. They found what was under the car, Tony. And now our friend has got security out the ass. And he just gonna come down hard on my partners and me. There won't be a next time, you fucking dumb monkey prick. And he fucking that scene was fucking hilarious, man. SG 2027, what's going on, man? That scene was hilarious, man. I honestly, to this day, I think that was the funniest scene, like in any action movie ever. Oh, we definitely got to upgrade that. Yeah, that gun is weak. But when I do my Vice City Stories review, I think I had gave y'all like a little brief synopsis of it years ago. I'm gonna probably redo all that shit. I'm gonna just start fresh, man. Like it's gonna have some of the same stuff I had told y'all about in the review before, but I'm gonna change all that up. The good thing is, at least when I do the review now, the emulation is gonna make it scale like a whole lot better than what I was gonna do before. But even the even I shit was gonna do the Xena Princess Warrior review. Even when I do that, I don't know when I'm gonna do that. But I had also had that footage done too. But like I said, I'm rescaling all that stuff. Like since my boy Everyday Struggle gave me this laptop, and he actually is gonna be here soon. To help me get even more stuff set up. So I'll be able to kind of do this a little bit easier instead of I mean, I got a basic setup now, but I really need like a desk and a monitor, because I notice whenever I try to like look on this TV with this HDMI cable, it goes in and out and it gets kind of like dark to see. So I have to switch between looking at the computer and then looking at the TV. And I'd rather just have a monitor, so it'll just make this a lot easier to see. But yeah, we definitely gonna be here streaming though. Okay, I came in here. This is a second monitor. That's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm just looking at my phone, and then, like I said, I got my HDMI cable from my laptop hooked up to the TV. Show it real quick. It'd be kind of brief to see, but it's kind of a messy setup. You could look at the webcam part, and I'm too lazy right now to even switch and do all that. But yeah, I just got a little It's just got the laptop, then HDMI cable set up to this old school Sony TV, little Goodwill $25 TV. I don't think y'all heard what I said. Yeah, good. I just got that set up basically. The web. I mean the laptop to that HDMI cable to the TV, the little Goodwill TV. I'm sure if y'all been in Goodwill, you've seen the $25 TVs. Oh yeah, support gaming. Yeah, I remember you. What's going on, man? Yeah, the more you make those Mortal Kombat videos, I like watching them shits. Hell yeah, I really need a desk though. I'm not gonna lie. Like I just noticed the desk probably would be easier, but I don't know. I never was the kind of person to like sitting at a desk playing a game. Like I never was a computer gamer like that. I always was a console person. So I like sitting on the couch looking at the TV, from at least a 2 feet distance or something like that. What? Man, that's crazy. I was about to say, dude, like where I had moved here in this little part of Atlanta, it's out here, it's nothing but fucking Mexicans out here. Mexicans and old black people. But even in the area where my mom lived there, it's white people out there. Man, every Goodwill I've ever gone to, these little TVs are like $25. Let me show it. It's not like it's an exclusive one. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little. I want to say this is probably maybe 24 inches or so. Yeah, this TV was like $25. Got good sound on it too. It's a Sony. It's a Bravia. I was shocked when I saw this. It didn't come with a remote or anything like that, but yeah, it was $25. And when I went in Goodwill, I had to get some dishes and stuff like that. I think what was about like last week or something. Man, I saw like four of them shits in there for like 25. No. It was about two for 25, and they had another one that was about maybe 75, but it was like probably a 50-inch screen TV. Goodwill be having some fucking amazing deals. They even had a PC monitor I seen in there one time. Yeah, you got a lot of trolls on your channel, dude. As a matter of fact, I had seen earlier on one of the comments I had commented on one of your videos or your posts or something. And somebody was like trying to say, yeah, your content was whack and your content was boring. I'm like, man, this shit fire as hell. Like how you do the how you go in all the character details. Like it's almost like every character have their own odyssey, and then you go into the history of them. I think that shit's fire how you do that for real. Like I said, like I like how you do it for like literally like the most obscure character, like from the origin of them all the way to like every game they were in, from like the original Mortal Kombat's all the way in the first gen systems all the way up to now. Like yeah, it's not. I haven't seen a channel on here really go in detail like that. That shit hard how you do it. Yeah, you right about that. Keep it. Yeah, you right. Yeah, clip on tablet. That would be dope. Like right now, it's like the TV. It's like kind of going black, so it's hard for me to see. So what I have to do is probably just switch it to looking at the laptop. I don't think a monitor would really do that. I really think monitors would just stay clear, and it's like the quality is like crystal clear. So I really personally would rather have a monitor now. And I need this game. I need this game to be in 60 FPS. It's like it's not really in that for some reason. But tell you to make content, yeah. That's just a part of the that's just how it is. On these YouTube streets, as they say. Like when you throw yourself out here, like you gotta you gotta really be ready. It's almost like being on Showtime at the Apollo. Like you gotta really you gotta really keep the crowd going now, and keep them loaded with something. See, with me personally, that's why I just figured let me just live stream, because like I said, if I was just it's not 2010 anymore. You know what I'm saying? It could be the HDMI cable, because I found this shit, but it looked like it's in good condition though. I thought the same thing. I was like, is it the cable? But you know what I do? Every now and then what I do is like unplug it and plug it back in. Because usually that fixes it. I remember on my old school TVs, or whenever I had my PS2, in the back of the AV cable would be falling out, it would be the same way. Like you have to like kind of push it in, and if you don't do that, the screen would just go black. But it probably is this cable. I have no idea, to be honest. Soon I'm gonna have like 4 monitors in here, because this room I got. I mean, this I'm really just trying to make it only strictly for me to live stream and have space for me to do that in here. I'm at the point now. I mean, I got like a little small little camping bed that I have. I don't even really know if I want to get a bed in here. I mean, I got a mattress frame and everything, but I've been so used to having to sleep on the floor and sleep on a little frames and shit like that, that I don't even care about sleeping on the bed. I just really want my space again. Yeah, but support gaming, yeah, man, that's just how it is, being in YouTube. I mean, I done had people say all kind of shit about me over the years. I've been on this shit since I was 18 years old, and I just turned 34. So, it's like I literally grew up on this fucking website. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's just how it is. Like, you gotta, and I guess like I said, like when they say staying consistent and all that, you just gotta come up with stuff, I guess, that appeals to you. Like you don't gotta worry about too much about what somebody else want to see. Like whatever you feel like you want to do that entertains you, that's what you gotta stick with. I learned you cannot worry about what other people want you to do. You gotta do it what you want to. Ironically, man, like I said, the more I get on here with y'all, like I get more inspired, honestly, to make more content. Like, cause that's when I realized, like, man, like after all these years, like I got people that still rock with this channel, and like, y'all don't really understand. Like, that's really a blessing, for somebody to have consistent people that support this, for so many years like this, and all. It's hard to get somebody to do that, what I'm saying, like rather it's YouTube or or you trying to do a business or a brand or anything like that. It's hard to to get people to to rock with you consistently like that. And I know I haven't been the most consistent person with these videos over the years, what I'm saying, because as y'all have seen, that's why I've been very transparent with y'all about what I've got going on in my life, because at the end of the day, what goes on in my life, it reflects what I'm able to do, as far as the videos and stuff. I mean, like I say, if it were up to me, if money didn't matter and fucking bills and all this other, mundane shit, if none of this had that much of an effect on our lives, I probably would be making reviews like every week. I mean, just being honest, but this shit has so much of a grip on our life because of this economy and the way that people that have a lot of resources restrict things to make it harder for people who don't have as many resources, to where you just almost kind of be in survival mode sometimes, and it restricts your creativity at times. It really does, but like I said, if it wasn't for that, I really probably would be making reviews every week. Damn sure would be live streaming. I mean, to me, it's no excuse why I shouldn't be able to get on here, y'all, and talk to y'all, and like I said, play the game. I mean, that's nothing. It's yeah. I'm glad y'all like that, man. For real, I really am. I really am glad y'all like that. Because at the end of the day, it's enough stuff we got going on out here in reality. So want to be out here trying to make content that's not good, and or you doing something that to try to reinforce the problem that other people out here. I try to make stuff to make people forget about the reality that's out here in in this world. Like the kind of content I make. It kind of is, like I said, it's no different than me watching all the videos and tapes and stuff I got here in front of me. It's just stuff that all again was like an escapism for me over the years. So when I try to make my videos, I try to let it have that same element as what I grew up watching. With, like I said, the Batman and Robin and Ninja Turtles and and all this stuff right here I see. Trying to remember exactly where do I go. What the fuck? Oh shit! Come on, Ashley. But I really did though. Like when I first came up with Quarterback Club, and all the other reviews and stuff I did, I tried to make it like something again that was like just something that that was good. Like that y'all weren't gonna forget. You know what I mean? And I did. I put a lot of. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. I put a lot of time into these videos over the years, man. Like my whole life went into that stuff. When I look back on it, you know, like I said, I wasn't going out partying when I was in college. I wasn't going out drinking and doing stuff like I said, hanging out with friends and doing all that. I wasn't doing that with my college years. I was making reviews, buying cameras and like I said, long gameplays, I wish I could have been streaming back then, but like I said at the time, like, oh shit, he attacked her. I didn't know they attacked her. But at the time, I wish I could have did it. But when streaming and all that was new, again, I just thought it was just kind of odd that somebody will watch you just play the video game like that, like But I didn't understand the personal aspect of it. I didn't think that mattered as much. I thought what mattered was the content, not the person. But now it's like the person has to sell. It's not about just the content anymore. If you an asshole or if you a person that motherfuckers don't get along with, or you got these weird ideologies and all this shit like I've seen on YouTube with some of these people, then people just not gonna fuck with you even if you got good content. I mean, it's like being a celebrity. It's the same thing. You know, it's a bunch of celebrities that's assholes, and but they make good music, or they make good movies or something like that. But in real life, people don't really like them. There's tons of them. But then, but as we see it over time, I mean, they don't last. Like, let's be real. I might only have 4 people in here. Who knows if it's even that? I mean, let's be real. Can I, like, some of our favorite, music artists or favorite actors and people like that, do y'all really think that they can hold y'all's attention as long as I've been able to do that in this live stream? And I ain't been doing that, but just talking about real shit, stuff I've really been having to deal with in real life. In addition to the gaming shit, and and the SNS production and everything else. So it's like everything culminates into who I am as an individual, But a lot of these people out here, they don't want to expose that. Like, even these YouTubers, I don't know if y'all ever look at the genre or have seen it, but it's like a genre I've noticed on YouTube where it's like a lot of people on here, they're like these doomers. Like, they like to go on here and talk about how bad life is, and they make really, interesting points, and how like life is just pointless, and some of them kind of have these perspectives like they wish they weren't born, and and all that stuff. And like, and don't get me wrong, like, you deal with a lot of bullshit in this life, and it's definitely like a lot of struggles that you're gonna have, but I just think that, like I said, you gotta find a purpose in this thing, and some people just don't have that creative instinct to do that, and I mean, like I said, that's what we were all made to do, is to create. You just gotta find your own particular way to do that, and express, I guess, whatever matters to you, and but I just noticed, a lot of these channels with these people like that, it makes me wonder, like, are these people really that depressed, and are they really like that against life, or are they just doing that just for the views and just for content, because they know we live in miserable times, and people may feel down about their situation, and it's just sort of capitalizing, like I've said, off of people's pain. So it just made me wonder, is this another form of it now? Because I've noticed a lot of these videos popping up, and these people are getting paid from this shit, just talking about how shitty life is. So I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I just would have never thought YouTube would have become like this years ago, to be honest. You motherfucker. And it kind of sucks that a lot of the old former greats on here like that, you especially in the game and shit. It's like, I feel like, man, I'm like one of the last real like game reviewers left that didn't really go out sad. I mean, even though I never really got popular like that, and so what? I mean, what I'm saying, I carved my niche, and and I made my content and got to the levels that I got to, and I'm cool with where I'm at with what I got going on with this YouTube thing. I'm cool with y'all. Like I say, you got to be a big fan base like that. Don't really matter to me, But man, I just have seen some of the guys on here that have done this over the years that I grew up watching, like Silent Rob. Like, Silent Rob went out bad, man. It just made me think, like, man, I don't. It just goes to show, like, how if you put your public image out there, how you gotta really, have yourself together, as an individual. Because, like I said, when you put yourself out here, and you try to build a brand, or you just making videos or whatever, like, people really are in your personal life, and and whatever you got going on individually, like if it ain't intact, people gonna notice it. And I mean, yeah, his thing was bad, man. It just really made me think like, dang, I kind of felt bad for him. Then that man was saying his mom had died and stuff too, so I know he was going through it. The shit with his wife cheating on him and all that, I was like, damn. No. But Solid Rob, man, that was my boy. I'm gonna be honest, like he was a major influence to this channel. Like I said, I remember when I first saw that guy. That was 2010. I remember all of my reviews, like I said, were kind of semi-inspired by semi-inspired by him, and more so than the AVGN. To be honest, I thought he was more raw. AVGN still seemed a little more scripted. Like Solid Rob again, like he's the type I knew even back then. Like he could do a live stream and again like talk about his problems and and make himself vulnerable, to his fans and stuff. And I respect people like that, to be honest, because you just can't play a character all the time like that. Like it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like with me is you got the frustrated game reviewer, which is who y'all had seen. I mean, it's really no difference between him and myself. Then you got regular old me, Chase. Then you got Houdini Crosswire. Houdini Crosswire, that's just somebody who's coming up with all kind of moves, all kind of finesse plays, anything basically to beat the system. Then you got Croctopus, like that's just somebody who's just is all out trying to just conquer and take over, like no holds barred, no prisoners, what I'm saying, no hostages, like we taking all casualties. So it's four different forms. I mean, you got Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. It's four different stages to me, and you got Chase. Then you got Houdini Crosswire. Then three stages. Then you got Croctopus. Yeah, that's what I'm just trying to eat. And some people just don't have all those different characters in themselves balanced like that, and unfortunately, man, like I said, if you're gonna be putting yourself in front of a camera, like, yeah, you gotta have that stuff together, man, because people gonna notice it, man, and especially if you doing fentanyl and stuff. I'm like, man, that was crazy with him. Yeah, it's like if during your streams you got a whole 5-6 hour stream. I mean, y'all see when I smoke, hell, I just hit the bowl then. I mean, yeah, but they ain't the same as smoking no crack or no fentanyl and shit like that. Like usually motherfuckers that do that, they're alone. Like I said, they somewhere in the bathroom. They feel ashamed. like it's not the same as smoking no bowl of weed. And then he was robbing his fans. Like I'm not with that. See, in all my years of doing this, I've never asked anybody for money. I've never asked anybody. Only time I ask y'all for money is if I'm trying to basically sell something. I'm always been like I said, a businessman. I never felt like, like I said, I just want to give you something or ask for something just for me to keep doing something that I would naturally do for free. Naturally, I would make these videos for free. Naturally, I would get on here and live stream with y'all and talk to y'all about the stuff that I've had going on in my life. Recently, stuff I had going on in my childhood and all that. Like, naturally, I would get on here and talk to y'all about that so that y'all can know, who the man has been behind the camera all these years. I mean, again, like I said, I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. So naturally I would get on here and and give y'all that privilege to see who I am, from just being able to just only see me from just a scripted video. Like, y'all deserve that, and I just feel like like I would do that for free. But if it's something like exclusive, that pertains to like, maybe a certain video that I really don't want to really rock with YouTube on, or like I said, a documentary that I make or something like that. I mean, between me selling that and along with other information that will help you benefit in your life, like I said, stuff I could talk about with the cleaning business, the maintenance business, the production business. I've done all that stuff. I mean, I could give that information away and just package it to where, like I said, you can make money off of that, and it will be something that will be like prosperous in addition to the videos and stuff. But like I said, that would be the only thing I would want to sell, to be honest. I really wouldn't want to just get y'all to just donate money to me just for the sake of, unless y'all just wanted to do that. I mean, because I've done it to other channels, just may donate $5, $10 or whatever, just because you rock with the channel and all, and you would like to kind of keep it going. And obviously, we need money as fuel to keep things going. So, um, that's just how you show support. But yeah, but besides that, I'm not just trying to just bum money off of y'all like that, or just bum money just for the sake, of the fact that y'all been rocking with the channel, and and I've been making videos. Like, I don't want to do that. Like I said, I would rather feel like I'm selling you a product rather than just trying to bump some money off of you. But these guys out here, like they'll bum money off of you in this in disguise of the form of acting like they creating content, but in reality they really just e-bagging, you know. And I don't know. I'm just not really with that. It's maybe my pride, I guess. Fuck. Just thought it was crazy though, but yeah, with the boy Silent Rob, they were saying that man, they were destroying him on this channel. I mean, on this website. I done seen people literally create pages and then got monetized from just talking shit about him. Saying that he was a fentanyl junkie. Goddamn. And he was scamming people for money, and and taking people money and going and getting high with it. I'm like, oh man, like that's not good, boy. That is not good. That's not good to have that face card on you, boy. I don't think he could ever come back from that, to be honest. I mean, it's one thing to be e-bagging, but to be a drug addict and you e-bagging, like, that's pretty bad. Like, I'm sorry, y'all, but y'all will never see me go out like that. Like, fuck that. Fuck. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry about that, y'all, man. I wasn't scrolling down at the comments, but hell yeah, you should keep making videos. Yeah, yeah, you should keep making videos. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like it's a difference between, um, like I said, it's a difference between shows you watch on something like USA channel and fucking NBC. Like the NBC shows, you got to look at your productions like their NBC specials. Like you only gonna see these shits, at some points in time of the year. It's only gonna be so many episodes that's gonna come out. It's gonna be some that's more exclusive. Like it ain't just this microwave content that's just gonna keep constantly coming out. Now, when you starting out, trying to get big, I mean, I see that's fine, but I'm at the point, man. I mean, I'm not big or anything like that, but I've done so many videos over the years that I don't need to just keep making more and more content like that to prove something, to either my supporters or just people on YouTube that I'm trying to gain. Like, I don't feel like I need to make some type of video to prove that. At this point, I feel like the best I can do is just basically be in front of y'all. The more I make these videos, what I'm saying, and live stream, y'all get to talk to me directly. You get to ask questions. You get to see what's going on in my personal life. That's now a different side to the frustrated game reviewer. I feel like, it's like this is something that a review would have never given y'all, an inside, like exclusive, like life of what's going on. I mean, again, like I used to hate reality TV when I was growing up, but it's like now everybody has to do it. I mean, it don't matter really who you are. I think about like those streamers, like your iShow Speeds and your Casanats and what's his the other Asian guy he got, the Ray Asian guy, like those, the way those guys are doing it, like they don't do nothing but streaming. Like that guy does no production work. And this man, he doing like 8-hour, 10-hour streams, basically, same shit that I would be doing. And if I, like I said, if I could, like, and eventually I will, do that kind of stream where, I'll be showing more than just video gaming. Like I'll be showing you more like behind the scenes stuff that I got going on. But like I said, right now I'm gonna have to just figure out how I would get a wireless camera set up in here with the webcam. And I really want to show y'all my garage because I'm gonna probably be setting up my green screen and stuff like that in there. And I never really got a chance to show y'all that, but yeah, I'm gonna show y'all my garage soon. I mean, I've been working a lot, so I haven't really had time to go in there like that. My friend been just mainly parking her vehicle in there, but I'm gonna turn that garage into a production studio. That's dope, man. Yeah, Justin Bieber. I mean, shit, Takashi 6ix9ine. I mean, all of them, they got to do it now. Like I said, now we in the age of like the man himself. Like, when we were growing up, we always wanted to know like what does this celebrity do every single day? Like, we always wanted to know these things. So like now, like that's what you have to show is like who you are. Like what do you have going on? And it's like I said, if you're a boring person, then, I mean, some people like that because there's some people that connect with that. But if you somebody, again, that everybody can kind of relate to, then I guess you'll be somewhat of an influencer and people will rock with you. And I guess the more you do it, the more, people see that you're consistent, and the more your stuff hopefully will grow. I mean, I don't think it's a guarantee, but it's damn sure worth the attempt. But that's pretty dope, man. So he does charity with Sega. Like, what does he do with them? Man, ain't no telling what Justin Bieber has gone through, man. I done seen some really sick videos with him, where they done shown like where he was forced to give somebody fellatio and all kind of crazy shit. Like Justin Bieber probably done deal with some real traumatizing shit over his career. So I actually kind of feel bad for him a little bit. They done probably forced that kid to do all kind of stuff. I mean, he was in that industry and blew up when he was 16. I mean, at the time they had needed like they next, big white hope. So he was the perfect thing. I mean, he kind of, they had, Justin Timberlake, and then he was a kid, so yeah, they really were just promoting him more so on that strength because they didn't really have no white pop artists out there. And they kind of used him, and he kind of got gobbled up and spit out. And yeah, man, Justin Bieber probably done seen a lot of shit. Him and Britney Spears and all them, like, but him more so than anything. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. He was with Diddy, so I mean, come on now. Anybody that's been with Diddy even has been through some shit. You know what's funny about Diddy? My friend that the guy I told y'all my brother is cool with, that they have the business partnership with and got the publishing company. He told me that he actually used to go. I remember he actually used to go to Miami when Revolt TV had like their little marketing stuff, and and all that. He told me he actually was around that guy Diddy before. He said that Diddy kind of had like this energy where he like to try to, because he's older, like them older dudes be trying to feed off of like what the younger guys got going on. He seemed like that type, like a vampire type. What's even more crazy shit, I remember one time my brother up here, because like I said, that guy, he knows, he's been around all kind of celebrities, like that guy Dallas Austin, Beyonce's mom, fucking Tiffany Haddish. He done worked with Tiffany Haddish. This dude, he done been around them all. I remember when they were here, that man told me one time my brother had went with him to play basketball at R. Kelly's house when this is when R. Kelly was out. And my brother told me maybe I'll probably get him to talk about it in the stream one day, because he got some stories to tell too, especially with the industry shit. Because well, I don't think his friend would, I don't think he would ever go live stream, because this dude is like super super private. But like I said, he's out there in California, and he's in the industry pretty much. Like, he's been around all these people, and they know him and everything. Like, he could probably tell way more crazy stories than I can even imagine. But yeah, I remember one of the funny stories was when my brother told me they had went to R. Kelly's house and played basketball, because that's what he was known for. And my brother told me when he went over there, he saw a bunch of young girls over there. So Buddy was really doing that. And I remember when I worked at that place in Ponce City Market in Midtown, like I said, it was, a lot of famous people there and stuff. But I remember it was one girl that was working there. And she told me when she was in high school, she knew a girl that used to date R. Kelly. Because like I said, we right here in Atlanta. So, that probably was like normal. And I know she wasn't lying. But I remember all this was going on. These were all the stories I heard before his trial. Because when was his trial? That was in like 2021 when did R. Kelly do that video when he was like, it was like, man, I'm sick of y'all, man. Y'all keep trying, I'm tired of y'all, man. When R. Kelly was crying and shit. What year was that he did that video? Let me look that up. I was hearing all these stories I remember before his trial. So, and when we were growing up, we always heard the stories about him. We seen the video when he peed in the girl's mouth, but I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. I was a kid at that time. I just thought it was just sick, and I was like, this is a weird motherfucker. But I believe the nigga really did it, because like I said, when my brother told me he went over his house and saw like little girls over there and shit, that mean, yeah, Buddy was really on that shit for real. And then like I said, I know the girl he was talking about. That girl was younger than me, and she was saying she had a friend that was dating him. So I was like, oh yeah, this man really sick. He really sick like that. But them celebrities, yeah, they really be having all kind of shit go on in their life, man. I wouldn't even be a part of that shit. Like I said, I'd really rather just be a YouTube celebrity. And I don't even know if this is safe, because even Casanat, I done seen some videos with him where he getting humped in the ass by a clown and shit like that. Like, so I don't even think them niggas safe either. Yeah, 2019 it was. And the thing is, I like Justin Bieber. I always liked Justin Bieber. I mean, I thought his music was cool, but then when I started hearing all these stories and stuff, and like again, like I knew again when he was on drugs and all that, I knew it had something to do with I just know when you a kid in that industry, man, they be going through some traumatizing stuff. I remember shit the what's his name shit the whole Disney shit, like all them, like what's the girl named Ariana Grande. Yeah, they super sexualized her and Miranda Cosgrove and iCarly. Like that stuff was sick. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's why they be on drugs. Like that's the only thing that could help them get away from that reality of what they've been involved in. Yeah, Justin Bieber, like I said, I used to like and then even when we were growing up, I'm even uncertain about Keenan and Kel because they used to do some real weird shit. I remember on that show. I think all of them in some way they done been molested. I mean, that's the only way you really gonna get on. They gotta have something against you. So in case you try to go and have something against them, they gonna have some dirt on you. So I think damn near everybody in that industry, it's either some picture or some video of them doing something over sexualized against their will, or either against, or possibly them accepting they will to do it. I don't know. And in some of these cases you just don't know. But I know if these motherfuckers is getting millions of dollars to avoid the life that we gotta live, then I'm assuming that they're accepting the sexualization that's involved. Yeah, Orlando Brown. Yeah, that boy there. He done been up through there, boy. That boy there. That man there done been up through there, man. Yeah, I feel bad for Orlando Brown. I feel bad for Orlando Brown. I don't be knowing if what he be saying. I think sometimes it's just over commercialized because of course he's doing that to make himself relevant. So I don't be really knowing sometimes the truth in some of the stuff that he says. I mean, but um yeah, but that guy there, he's definitely he's definitely traumatized for sure. I see you shot enough number of medallions. Like I promised, go claim your specialized guns in the buy screen. Don't worry about money. This one's on the house. All right, what you talking about? What you talking about? Oh, a Punisher? Okay. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. Hold on. But yeah, I'm trying to think of all. I mean, growing up, honestly, yeah, a lot of those shows I just would watch here and there, but I really wasn't really like into like Nickelodeon like that, like in the 2000s. Like I really wasn't really a SpongeBob like watcher like that. I really wasn't into that shit. But definitely, yeah, like your ones like your Beavers and your Orlando Browns and yeah, like they sabotaged. But as far as like your Diddy's and now, like I said, now as far as R. Kelly, now R. Kelly is sick. I'm gonna just be real. Like personally, I think that he did what he did. I mean, like I said, there's two testimonies I heard. Plus, like literally, my brother told me this was in like 2000 and that was like when Chance graduated. This was in like maybe 2014, some shit like that. But we had already heard the R. Kelly stories. I remember I had seen that video of him peeing in the girl's mouth. I was like maybe like 11 when I had seen that shit. We had seen that shit. I remember on the internet. Like this was like I don't even remember what website it was, but it was like way, way back in like the AOL days and shit. And I remember we had saw that shit on the internet, and I thought this is a sick bastard. And then I just thought, like if this dude was like 30 something, he was fucking Aaliyah, and Aaliyah was what 16, like like yeah, like that guy was sick. I think it's enough evidence for me to believe that he did what he did. Diddy, on the other hand, I think Diddy is just an egomaniac. I mean, he's a Scorpio, so I could kind of see how he thinks. Like he's more like he thinking more like shit. I didn't want to put in all the work. You know what I'm saying? I done goddamn, made all the sacrifices. I could just do what I want type shit. Like I think that Diddy's more like that type of person. I don't think he's like no, like how they saying, trying to drug a bitch and and give her pink cocaine and fly her to California, and then that's she waking up and it's 10 dudes screwing her, and he just sitting there jacking off watching all this crazy shit that they said this man did. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, to some degree, yeah, he probably did do some shit like that, but I think some of them probably were willing participants because they knew he had money, so they went ahead and did that shit, So I don't know too much about like some of that crazy stuff they say these folks did, but well, R. Kelly, I'm not gonna lie, I do believe that. I mean, maybe if I knew people that firsthand had stories about him, I'll probably believe more about the Diddy shit. But R. Kelly, I'm like, yeah, I heard shit about you growing up as a kid, and then when I became an adult, people told me about shit about you. Like, then after that shit happened, years later, they got this trial. Then you get convicted. Like I'm like, yeah, man, like yeah, you probably were doing that, buddy. May not be a way for you to wiggle out of that. I really don't want to use this. But what's interesting is Raven Simone. You really don't never see her talk about none of that shit. It ain't like she just that high, high and mighty and that much of an A-list celebrity to where she ain't got to go on come on the internet and talk about it like Orlando Brown. I mean, this dude been on every low budget, low end, dirty side of YouTube that that he could possibly be on. I mean, these folks probably done gave him a little dime a heart, as like as like the currency for the interview. They probably didn't even pay him. He done been on every platform and they did all types of interviews about everything. And but I've never seen her on like no platform ever talk about That's a Raven show. Like the stuff going on with her sexuality or any of that. Like nobody ever her stuff with her career. I ain't never seen Raven Simone talk on no platform. So that's how like yeah, she's deep in the occult. We'll just leave it at that, I guess. She's knee deep in that shit. One time I seen her and she was looking like a witch. Like in one picture I had seen. So yeah, they got her all fucked up too. Yeah, but support gaming. Yeah, I say just going to continue making the content. If I were you, like I said, I would just do it like an NBC special, because those be some long videos. I mean, like that's a lot of dedication to put into like a 2 hour video. I mean, that's a lot of editing. I noticed that's a lot of like game searching. Like you got to actually play the game up to the certain part. Even if you don't play it and you just get the video clip, you still got to, you have to like basically scene and script all that out so that it all correlates and has some continuity into some sort of storyboard. Like that's a lot of work, and I notice it. Like I said, I may not comment on every video, but I watch them though, man. And like I said, I definitely notice the dedication. Definitely notice it, man. And so I definitely say you should continue it. But I think probably what you should do more is, again, probably do more little live streams. Like let people get to know who you are. Let them know, it's more than just Mortal Kombat videos behind the scenes. And I think that's just more the era we in now, where the content creator has to do more opening up, like I said, where we can see the man behind the scenes, instead of you just making the content and hiding behind it. Because a lot of these people feel like that's kind of what you do when you don't go live, especially if you've done it the first time. That's why I knew, like, once I did this the first time, I had to continue doing it, because like, you know what I'm saying, like you started something. God damn. I think I ended up selling this gun later on. So we'll see. We'll see. I might keep this. Ain't even no point in doing that. I barely got any bullets for this. All right. This game's too fun, man. I mean, you know what's crazy? Do y'all think that like it's still gonna just be like more and more generations of like messed up Disney kids and messed up Nickelodeon kids? I heard that they actually are getting rid of Cartoon Network, which is crazy to me. I don't know how true that is, but I've been seeing like little posts and stuff where people been saying that. So if it ends at 5 p.m., do they just go from Cartoon Network to Adult Swim? I couldn't even imagine what cartoons they would be showing on there now. I'll be scared to watch them shits. The shit's probably so weird. Yeah, it sucks being a kid today, to be honest. Like, it really does. I think about the kind of cartoons. I think about like even like that. I seen them like running up doing that 6-7 shit. Like when kids was getting excited about that. I'm like this shit is so lame now, man. Like this whole era is so lame.
even how that whole shit started. I'm like, wasn't that off of a rap song? Like some dude saying that he was gonna pull up to a block and shoot the block up like do like Baby Shark or some shit like that. Like it's 6-7. I guess that's the name of his block, and he was gonna he was gonna shoot the block, and it was gonna be like do like Baby Shark. I'm like, what do these stupid fools be talking about, man? That's how I heard it started. I heard it was some dude named Skrilla had a rap song, and it was a line he said that he was gonna like pull up on his block. I guess his block was like 67th Street or something like that. So in the rap he was saying I pulled up to 6-7 and with the Glock or some shit and went do like Baby Shark. And I guess like because it's the Baby Shark line, like kids kind of like that, like the Baby Shark do, and then that line I guess is like what caught the attention, and then he said the line 6-7 in there. So I think that's where it comes from. I think that like when it's the connection between the Baby Shark and then his street on 67th Street or whatever it is, and that's how the connection comes. It's kind of funny to be honest, but I'm like, man, this is so lame. Like this is like y'all's pop culture now. Dude, I didn't even know SpongeBob was still around. I didn't even know they still make episodes of SpongeBob. That's incredible. Just like The Simpsons, it's like how is that still around? Now those early episodes of SpongeBob were funny though. I'm not gonna lie. Like those first seasons, I remember that was like when my sister was born. Like them early episodes, like 1999, 2000. That was when I was watching it. Like when it first had came out, and I thought it was pretty funny, and it was pretty funny at like later on. But I don't know. Like as I got older in the 2000s, I got more into like video games. I really wasn't like a cartoon TV watcher like that anymore. Like back in the 90s, especially the late 90s, I used to be front seat every Friday for Cartoon Fridays. Always, like I said, I never missed a single Cartoon Fridays. I never missed the WB used to have the Saturday morning cartoons. They used to have Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Static Shock. Fuck, I can't believe I can't remember these cartoons. They had so many of them, but those are the ones I really remember. Yu-Gi-Oh, I used to always catch that. Static Shock. What's his name? Osmosis Jones. I remember they had that. That used to be my shit. Damn, I'm really taking it back in the day here, man. This is a long time ago. We talking like 2002. That's when I was like watching cartoons and stuff. But that was by the time I got like in middle school. I was more so watching reruns of like stuff that was from like the late 90s and stuff. I really wasn't watching the new stuff that was out at that time. I really wasn't into it, like the Danny Phantom and Kim Possible and all them type of shows. I wasn't really into that back then. I remember my little cousin, she used to watch that shit, Nickelodeon. That's when I'll kind of catch the episodes. I did like Fairly Odd Parents a little bit. Fairly Odd Parents was my shit, but then it kind of started to lose my attention after a while. But I'll admit though, like my favorite cartoons, none of them grown up, you know what I'm saying, and I can kind of look back on my life. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I thought the creator passed away, but I can honestly say though, like now that I'm older, like one of my favorite cartoons, like one of my favorite cartoons of all time, probably was Ed, and Eddie, like that, and Arthur and Ed, and Eddie. Like I've always given Arthur that credit, but Ed, and Eddie, when I look back on it, that was probably one of my favorite cartoons too, because like that shit was relatable as hell.
And Eddie was funny. I remember every Friday, I always had to make sure I watched that shit. Man, that boy Eddie, he did whatever he had to do to come up with a scheme. Like that man Eddie, he never make no excuse to be broke. That dude was like my inspiration as a kid. Oh shit, this is when me and Louise go in that house. I remember this. Yeah, with SpongeBob. Yeah, like SpongeBob probably don't even have the same like satirical kind of humor that it had. I bet you that's gone. Like, the witty type of NPC type of characterization they used to have. Like all that stuff probably is dead in SpongeBob now. Yeah, it had people shook, and the boy Eddie, like I said, Eddie never found a reason to be broke. Eddie didn't give a damn if he had to sell you some fucking. He was gonna come up with he was gonna make it a damn amusement park out of cardboard and damn toothpicks. Like he was gonna do anything to make some money. That dude did not like being broke, man. That shit used to be funny when I look back on it. None of his jokes used to work. Like every finesse play that he came up with, like that shit would never work. I don't think it's ever been a character like that in a cartoon I've ever seen before then or since then. Where like he was just always scheming and trying to make money, but none of his jokes used to work. Yeah, this is gonna suck. Yeah, I would say Ed and Eddie and Johnny Bravo used to be my shit too. You know what? Johnny Bravo was when I first realized that women were fucking bitches. And then Johnny Bravo also made me realize too, like, damn, like it really don't be about the guy that's, all suave and yeah, buddy would be all suave and dancing and he was I remember that dude was like he was like a Elvis Presley times 10. Like I just remember like why is this dude like trying to be super cool? Like yeah, Johnny Bravo was fucking hilarious, and yeah, and ironically, it was created by Seth MacFarlane, so that's probably why it was so funny. Yeah, I was like, why is this dude like so extra, trying to get these women? And it would always be like again, like some nerd that had like a skill, or he knew how to monetize a certain thing that would get either some money or get some sort of resource, and he would be always the one to get the broad, and Johnny Bravo would be sitting there trying to figure out how he didn't do it. And he was doing all this suave shit. Yeah, that shit was funny as hell, man. That show taught me a lot about women. Oh shit.
see how this mug shoot. Dexter's Lab, yeah. Teen Titans, I love Teen Titans. I forgot that. That's what I was trying to remember. Teen Titans. I used to watch that shit every Saturday. I used to love Teen Titans. Yeah, Codename Kids Next Door. That I used to love that show. You know, remember another show I used to watch was Fillmore. Speaking of, what's his name? Orlando Brown. Yeah, Fillmore used to be my shit on Disney Channel. Damn it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch some Johnny Bravo episodes. I hadn't seen that shit in a long time. I just remember that shit used to be funny because it would always be like a broad that he would be trying to get, and then it would be like a nerd or somebody like that that would scoop the broad up because, like I said, she knew how to he knew how to do something that that was of some intelligence, and Johnny wasn't smart enough to figure that shit out, but the nerd could do it, and he would be the one to get the female. That shit used to be so funny. God damn, they got up here fast. You didn't like Fillmore? I liked Fillmore. That shit was fire. It kind of reminded me of like a kid CSI type show. Damn it. These motherfuckers piling in here, man. Fuck. Oh, man. Yeah, he did. Like his head was shaped like that dude's head was shaped like an Adamite from Pokemon. Y'all remember that Pokemon Adamite? That rare species? That's how that fool head was shaped like. Flash Gordon was my shit, man. You really taking it back. Like I was really young when that was out. Yeah, those cartoons. Like I sometimes like in the Space Coast to Ghosts. I remember those years. Yeah, like that's really taking it back. Like I gotta really sit back and remember that stuff. To be honest, like my mom didn't really like let us watch cable at night like that, so I didn't really get to watch cartoon because Cartoon Network in the '90s, from what I remember, it was new. Like it was like when they used to show on there back in like '95 and '96 in them years. Like that was before they came out with like Cartoon Network Studios, where it was just exclusive Cartoon Network like productions, like where they had your Johnny Bravos, your Dexter's Lab. Them cartoons didn't start coming out. Your Cow and Chicken, that was my shit, and of course Courage. Courage was one of my favorite cartoons. I had to catch that every Friday. That came out later though, but like the ones like Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, those came out. I remember like the mid '90s. That was right before we moved to Mountain Pass, so that was like the mid '90s.
at that time I wasn't really watching, like that was Cartoon Network was new. So I remember on there back then they used to show like fucking Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny and Adam Ant, like you know what I'm saying, like fucking the Flintstones, like they used to show like shit like that on there. I don't really remember them showing like exclusive cartoons until like the late '90s when I was like in second grade, and that's when they started coming out with, like, you know, like I said, the stuff that we know today. So I didn't really know about Cartoon Network really until like the late '90s, but in like the mid '90s, yeah, I mainly remember watching all that in Nickelodeon, Our Real Monsters. I love Rugrats. Me and my brother, we stayed watching that. That was when, you know, we taking it way back. Then we talking like 1995, 1996. Um, Our Real Monsters. We used to watch Rugrats. The stuff I'm looking at right now, the Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles was already kind of old at that time though. But we used to watch the rerun tapes. And yeah, yeah. Ren and Stimpy wasn't for kids. I used to like Ren and Stimpy though. I mean, people used to be all weirded out and, you know, and freaked out, but I just never was freaked out by it like that. I thought it was pretty funny. Some of the episodes were really like kind of like deeply, you know, um, like just the way they kind of like looked at social perspectives and stuff. Like I always thought they were pretty funny. Yeah, Ren and Stimpy was funny. Our Real Monsters was my shit. Like that, I think that was from the same creators. That's what I remember watching the most. Like all the weird characters on there and stuff. Can I buy some help from him? Oh, okay, bet. I feel like I should sell my handgun. You still love this little guy. Doing that. Scoot that over there. Put you right here. Damn. Shit. Yeah, this could go. And I do need that stop for it. Damn, I need to make room for that. What? Oh shit! I like this gun too. Yeah, I'm gonna have to upgrade this because I love this gun. Okay, so okay, Uncle's coming from there, going here. I'm gonna get this one more run, y'all, and then I'm probably gonna call it a quits, and we'll probably try this again Friday. Cause I'm gonna have to upgrade that gun. Just combine these and make some room, cause damn sure gonna need it. Don't worry about that. Oh,
Damn it. Kind of need to stay down there and get some of that ammo. Oh, go, 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 go. You know what? Getting you niggas down in the corner may not be the option. I got something for him. We go pull out the TMP, let that get some action. You better watch out, Lewis. Fuck. It's pretty fun. Until you die. Let them keep coming. Let them keep coming. We're going to keep wasting them. Let's corner these fuckers. Bitch ass motherfucker. Damn. I was about to tear his fucking head off, man. And it was a lot of those bastards. But we got enough of them down. I don't know if I saved his ass or he saved my ass, but it was a hell of a rhyme. I think I'm probably about to end it right there, y'all. Man, I appreciate y'all joining in. And shit, we gonna continue this journey on maybe Friday or sometime this weekend. You know, it's never a promised day, but whatever day it's gonna be, I'll just give y'all a heads up on the post and just stay tuned. And you're gonna continue this. And then another one y'all gonna really enjoy. Damn, my hit ratio went down. The another one y'all gonna really enjoy later on is we gonna actually go through Scorpion King, because I never really actually beat that game. When I did the review, I got all the way down to the final boss and I just couldn't beat him for whatever reason. And I think I mentioned it before, but because I had already like did as much as it written as much as I had needed for that, I just said screw it, I'm about to go on and just start recording this. And then that's when we went on and made the production for it. But in my initial review, I actually had written it as if I had beat the game, but I never actually beat it. But I saw the ending on a video, and that's when I saw like, damn, this game really was some bullshit. But I actually want to try to do it live like I did with the Cap Attack. So that'll be definitely something we're gonna do in the future. And then of course, other more modern games I'm gonna do, and other classics I wanted to do like in reviews and stuff. But I would have rather live stream like this. So y'all just stay tuned, and we're gonna be back on later on this week. And peace out.